I mean, let's just have a chat, mate. I mean, my last podcast was with Rob.
Rob Moore, yeah.
When was your last one?
As a guest? As a guest was about a week and a half ago or something. I think I went to Fleet.
Yeah.
It was with some mortgage company sort of place. Yeah, the guy Sammy Lowy with the ponytail.
Do I know him in person though?
I think so. If you know like Paul Stapleton and that, he's always around that or sponsoring his events. I can't remember it was quite a positive name, Abundant Finance.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's Abundant Finance. He invited me on, so yeah, it was the first sort of appearance that I'd been out really since everything had happened already. So
did they really get to know Sean though? And does anyone?
There's a side of me that people know, and there's a side of me that potentially I don't want to show. Anything business, it's like when people, what do they want of me? I'm just a normal regular brown guy, yeah, or whatever. But what do they want of me? Well, I'm not a fashion model. I'm not a singer. I'm not somebody who's a TV personality. I'm just somebody who knows how to make money and just done what an ordinary person shouldn't sort of be able to do. He's made it from a regular sort of normal background, not at the top of the pecking order, and just ended up making some money and getting out of the rat race, self-employed, just through my mindset. But the mindset is what people really need to extract from me to say, what do you do in your life to get them results? But some people just say, well, whatever you're going to do, I'm going to do it. And it looks easy on the outside, but on the inside, their daily habits and practices that you have to do and stay consistent. That's what people really need of me, for example. But I think that's the only side I want to show of me on social media, really. The other side of family, personal, emotions, I'm not much of an emotional person, if that makes sense. You don't really get a lot of emotion from me. I get hate on some of the posts. Don't really care. Seen bullies like that before. If somebody's going to get an emotional side of me, I think catastrophe or whatever that word is, has happened in my life. And you potentially have seen little cracks in my sort of some of my stories or music that I'm listening to, that you think something's a little bit changed or going on in the background. But we all have them sort of down days. And I'm not afraid of being judged by people looking at me in terms of being vulnerable or soft. But at the same time, it's something that's very personal to me, you know, and everybody handles things differently in their life when they're going through stuff, and I'm just handling it my own way.
What's the part of you? There's a lot to unpack within that. What's the part of you that you don't want to show?
The part of me that I probably don't want to show is like my personal life when the door closes.
Why? What are you afraid of?
It's nothing that I'm afraid of. It's just it doesn't give anybody any value, I believe. You know.
Where does that come from?
Where does that come from? From my belief of people just want me for the monetary side, the financial side, the how to put the food on the table, and then they can do whatever they want with it. They can have a girlfriend, they can have a wife, they can see multiple women, they can have children, multiple children and stuff. That's a bit I don't really want to teach people about, the relationship side and how to live your life sort of thing, because I'm not sort of a love coach or a family coach. I'm here for business, really.
Do you believe there's something in you that's screaming to get out but scared to show?
I think everybody has something that they feel that they want to scream more about, of something. But there's no underlining sort of want of anything trying to come. I mean, you know me on a personal level.
Yeah.
You know, we've been on vlogs together. We've just been chilling out together. We've trained together, you know. So I like to think that I'm well-rounded. Like, even when we train, yeah, you're going to do heavier weights than me. You're taller, you're bigger, you're stronger. You know what I mean? But in my intensity, I try to just keep up, you know. And you can see, all right, he might not be stronger than me, but you can see he's at full revs, you know. He's giving it his all. Yeah, I suffered about a week after training with you, mate. You see me on the podcast scene, influencing scene. You've seen me speak, you know, at events and stuff. So I think I try to show as much as possible, but there is not something that I'm really wanting to show. It's just people get to see more of you the more you evolve, really. So I don't feel that there is anything that I'm holding back terribly on.
No, I don't necessarily think you're holding back on anything. I because I know you, and like you say stuff like I'm not necessarily an emotional person. Well, I actually think the opposite. I think you are one of the most emotional people, but in a good way. You do show your emotions more than most people, but you are a well-rounded person. And like what happened recently, which I've no doubt we're going to speak about, and stuff we spoke about at the gym, which we'll speak about as well. But it's through that, I think, that people could take life lessons from you, which I would imagine people that have gone through similar things and don't even know where to look, where to begin, and like form those daily habits like you have. Because there's so many people struggling. They couldn't even get out of bed, going through the struggles that you have. Do you see what I mean? And I think that's where I look at you and go, is that what you want to do? And the business stuff, because you can do both. Or is it perceived to be wrong in a way? Or is it not? Do you see what I mean? Because this want to help people, I've got exactly the same thing. That's what I want to do because of that's where we're very similar. But like with property, for me, as an example, you know, for me, it's an investment vehicle. It's not quite the same for you, but I invest in people. This, for me, is what I do, is I want to dig right in and go, right, what's the core of why you are like the way you are? Because you can help so many people in so many different ways. But why are you like the way you are? And it really does start at the beginning. And that's why I'm asking these questions. So why do you believe you're the way you are? Because you put stuff out there on social media which people can see. But what's the real reason?
I believe in making a change, you know, and if I've gone through something that I've changed, why can't other people go through that same change? So I'm just sharing that change, really. That's what I believe.
And that started back when you were younger?
All started when in school and after primary school. And I know how it unraveled. Like, I've looked back at my journey and understood why I went through what I went through. And it was a lot of trauma going through it and trying to get out the other end. But now looking back, was I really a victim? As I had that victim mentality? Probably not. I was probably the one who was stirring up a lot of what happened to me.
What was it, so people know?
So, you know, I got bullied heavily, like always someone picking on me, and it got worse and worse. Like in primary school, you don't notice it as much. When you go into secondary school, you're going through like adolescence, you know? I've got kids now. I've seen how my 11-year-old's gone into a 12-year-old and how he's all of a sudden out of character very quickly, and it's just hormones going through you. So imagine going into a secondary school and it's just a boys' school and everyone's going through a hormonal change, and the environment is like a council estate where you've got broken glass on the floor. There's a hierarchy of how you're being treated, and they're getting punched in their face. Of course they're going to come back to school and go for the easy target. It wasn't their fault. It was the only way that they knew. And for me, I didn't have any social skills. So I used to go to primary school and it was the next street from where I lived. So every lunchtime I'd go home because we couldn't afford £1.20 for the lunch. So I used to go home, eat, and run back. But guess what I missed out on? Playing in the playground, having them conversations. So outside of the classroom, I had no social skills. I had nothing in common. I couldn't talk about the tennis ball that we played football in the playground. I couldn't talk about the pogs that I won and the slammers and the what do you call it, the marbles on the drains that we played on. I had none of them conversations. So I had no people skills.
Could you speak to anyone at home about it?
I didn't know. I wasn't aware that I was missing out on this.
But
I did.
But the feeling.
No, but I asked, can I have school dinners? And it's like, no, we can't afford that. And it was just something, okay. So I used to just come home. My mum used to put like a lasagna in the microwave, put it on for me. I used to quickly watch something on TV, eat my dinner, lunch, shall I say, and then back to school. And that carried on into secondary school. And the secondary school was a lot further, like 20 minutes away. So I literally was leaving school to get home for 20 minutes, had literally 10 to 15 minutes to eat and get 20 minutes back to school. And think of this, I didn't have PlayStation, I didn't have, Sega or any of that. I had it for 1 year and then it had to get sold because I was dominating the TV. And so I couldn't talk about football games. I couldn't talk about anything relatable. And I was never there during lunchtime, so I missed out on that whole thing. And then whatever was permitted to say at home with your 3-4 sisters, and you were treated like a prince at home. Like, he's the boy, like, I went into an environment where I wasn't that guy. I was just somebody who said something wrong, got away with it at home. The world will punch you in the face for saying the wrong thing. And I couldn't understand it. I'll be like, why am I getting bullied again? Because I've said something wrong. Because I asked a question in class and everyone's like, we want to leave the classroom. You've held us back for 5 minutes because the teacher has to explain. Punch him for it. And it was that environment where it was full of testosterone. It was boys' school. And it was an environment where Stratford wasn't a nice place in the 90s. And people were going through a lot. And I was just that target. So stepping back from it, it was just like, was I just getting bullied and picked on because I was overweight? Well, there were other overweight people. It's just that I just didn't have them people skills. And for a long time, I had to fight them battles until I sort of competed on stage and said to myself, I'm not a fat boy no more, even because them things get carried on. You walk into a boardroom and you're working for Barclays in a corporate company, and whenever you want to ask a question, everyone's looking at you, you refer it back to a classroom of don't say the wrong thing because you're going to be fat boy, or you people are going to hate you for it. So it did affect my confidence. So it was just me in this constant battle in my head, just do what you can. So I was very good at work environment because I was not bad in school. I only got 4 or 5 GCSEs, but I tried in that environment to impress. I tried that in that environment with my dad in the shop, pleasing customers, good customer service, filling up the shelves to impress my dad or my granddad or my uncle that I'm helpful. So I was good in that remit, but when it came out of work, I didn't have much people skills. So I didn't watch football. I collected football stickers for a little while, but I didn't know who won on the weekend because I wouldn't be watching football on the weekend. I'd be helping my dad in the shop, So all of that people sides, that things in common, I didn't really have. So having less friends, it carried off in the corporate job. And then it was only until I left my corporate job, started building works. And then in between that, I started training and just wanted to get that thought out of my head that I'm a fat boy, I'm useless, I'm not worth anything. And when I competed on stage, it was only then when the bullies would message on Facebook and go, wow, how did you do that? And I was like, there's me thinking that you're still thinking that I'm a fat boy, I'm still this. And then I started reconnecting with some of these people going, well, some of them I was just brutally honest. I was like, it's because of you. You used to call me fat boy. Remember that Parker pen you nearly stabbed me in the eye with, like in front of the whole classroom, pulled me back and inches away from my eye saying, if I don't get this Parker pen, you're dead. And I'm thinking, I've got a week to get a Parker pen. I don't know how to get that £7.89 what it was. How do I get that money together to get him it? Otherwise I'm getting stabbed in the eye for it. But you know, that was just the conditions that I was put under in school, but it was still going through in my head like trauma. But then when I reminded them of it, they go, I don't remember that. Did I really do that? I'm so sorry. All I remember is somebody else was doing this to me at the time. And then I was just thinking, and then I spoke to a few more bullies, and they were like, oh, well, I got my head flushed down the toilet, or I got kicked in by 4 guys in the toilet. I was like, but you did that to me. Did I? That wasn't me, bro. I think you're getting it confused. I was like, no, I've got a memory like a, you know, I can remember stuff. So it was just like everyone was going through it. It wasn't just me. And so I opened up that. But then also that kind of got me a little bit more calmer after that, thinking no one's calling me fat boy anymore. No one's judging me anymore. So you've got to stop this sort of trauma and stop trying to prove to other people, and now start proving to the world of your processes, what you've done. You're now a vehicle that have been through stuff, and you should now teach other people of that perseverance, of don't worry about material items, impressing other people. You don't need none of that. Just keep doing you, because eventually you will persevere to where you need to get to, because I have.
Wow. I think, one, you should be very proud from obviously where you've been and where you are now. But for anyone that's listening, that's been through what you've been through and still struggling, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah, so this could be anybody. I was bullied in school. You could have been bullied at work, you know, by a manager. Somebody who's like, yeah, you go on, keep doing these like jobs that no one else wants to do, and you're like, why'd you pick on me? And if I talk back, I might get fired or disciplined. It could be someone in a relationship, you know, beaten up, you know, abused, maybe mentally, physically, you know. For men could have been abused in a relationship, because, you know, emotional bullying is a thing as well. You should be more of a man. You should be lifting this. You should be getting that. You should be putting food on the table. You should be, and maybe you might be not in a position that you can manage them expectations. You're still working on it. Because sometimes you need someone who's supporting you to help you get there, you know. And for women as well, the same thing. You could be having a man who's just beating you up every day because he's going through trauma, because he's not been the man he should have been, and you're the easy target where you try to support him, but he sees you as somebody soft and someone's going to be there all the time, and you're going to whack him. So this could be to anybody, but what you need to know is, if you're going through some sort of trauma, you have to be very coachable, because it's very easy to go, I know what's wrong with me. The fact that you're saying that, you don't know what's wrong with you, because we wouldn't even need to say that sentence. You need to reflect back and saying, I do something that doesn't seem very normal, and it's very hard sometimes, but you have to look in the mirror, and you have to look in the mirror and say to yourself, no, there is something wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you feel shame, you feel embarrassed, but sometimes you've got to put yourself in that position.
Would you say there's something wrong, or there's something to improve on?
It's always another layer. So wrong was probably the wrong word, shall I say, because there's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just we've got to learn lessons, for example. So here's one, like when I was in the gym, I'd wear this really tight skins, what they call it. Yeah. I'd put it on when my belly was hanging out, but because I wanted to really sort of be honest with myself rather than wear a big baggy top.
Punish yourself. Reminder.
It's in a way, if I wore this big baggy top now, people go, oh, you look in good shape, because it falls nice on your shoulders and your chest, and I'm keep confusing myself to say, oh, nothing's wrong with me, or I can go home, I can eat because everyone said I look okay and nice. But when I put that skin top on, you can see all of my love handles, my lower belly, and people going, oh, you need a lot to work on. But that was being really honest with myself. I put myself in a position where I was quite vulnerable. I knew that when somebody calls you fat or you need to work on that, I knew it would affect me, but that effect will cause change.
So it was fueled by pain?
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, it was that.
Is that what... So being fueled by the pain that the bullies caused changed you.
Yeah, I suppose. A pain always fuels me, actually. It's running away from that feeling of I don't want to be vulnerable.
Why?
Because I don't want to be looked at somebody who's right down the lowest of the low sort of thing. I know I'm more than that.
What if you weren't looked at as the lowest of the low?
Then I just feel like I'm too comfortable. I feel like I'm just not growing anywhere. It feels like I have to have a challenge somewhere all the time.
But what if you're being challenged, but just showing a bit of vulnerability? And maybe accepting.
I think life is a consistent sort of challenge. You just got to look at the animal kingdom, you know what I mean? Every day the weather changes. It's not always sunshine and roses. It's winter comes and hard times come. Like, the whole world teaches you about that. So I think you're always going to be faced with challenges, and you always got to be going through stuff, and it's just you, how you handle it.
I agree. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like what you mentioned earlier, there's loads of gain to unpack from that. But something at the moment, I've had so many people reach out to me about being, again, a dad, you'll know, and feeling the pressures at the moment because of everything that's going on, not being able to provide emotionally, financially, and be there, like, present, and be there for themselves as well. Which I would imagine, from what you were saying, was kind of the case for, I can't say for sure, for generations before you, before your dad. I'm not saying for you, but it's something that people have struggled with and are continuing to struggle with. Would you say that you've managed to work on that or get that?
I feel when I sit down with someone like my father, you don't get a lot of emotion at all. You know, it's a very, very limited amount. And even I'm asking him, you can talk to me. And it's okay to show the vulnerability on your side. You've gone through something of, for example, 45 years of marriage, and now you have to go to your room and your partner's not there anymore. I can't imagine what you're feeling. And then he'll have a little drink, and then he'll let a little bit out, and I go, it's okay. Like, another person will say, stop, don't, you know, it's okay, don't worry about it, just be happy again. I'm letting him grieve. I'm like, it's okay, yeah, keep going, let it out, because it can make you feel better, and it's all right, and I don't feel that you're a weaker man sort of thing. So I'm trying to be there for someone like him. My granddad was quite emotional. He was somebody who would always cry, and I think that's why he always looked very young, because he never held on to that stress. You could never see a wrinkle on him. Up until the age of 80, he was still looking really rosy, you know. So emotions for me, I'm quite emotional because I spent a lot of time with my mum. And so women are naturally more emotional, you know. This ain't right, that ain't good, we should do this, why are you doing that? So every sort of business decision I always go to her, because yeah, my dad would know the numbers, but my mum would know the emotional side. Can you handle this? Haven't you got a lot on your plate? And at the moment, is that going to put you under pressure? Is that going to put you under stress? She would talk about all the other stuff. So I always was trying to get that well-rounded balance from that. But that's behind closed doors again. I wouldn't show anybody else what I'd spoke about, you know, with my dad or my mum. I'd just be like, I'm doing this, and I already know why I've done it. You know, like, that's my finding out sort of thing. So internally, yes, I am emotional, and I do like to pattern that out and iron that out. But when I go outside, there won't be a lot of emotion shown. It will just be, I want to do this, and I think that's correct.
And how do we as men trying to provide demonstrate that we can be present, provide, and look after ourselves? Or is there, do you believe, too much pressure to do all of that? Because my inbox is flooded with those messages. It's completely flooded with them. Mm-hmm. How do I do that? How do I be there on the school drop-offs, pick-ups, provide with everything that's going on at the moment in the world, causing chaos, and look after myself, as in health and fitness, and like, there's not enough hours in a day. I mean, I've got my answer, but I'd be interested to hear your perspective on it.
Yeah, so it all comes down first to what I believe. If you want to tick all of these boxes, you do have to have a routine and schedule that you do things, because if you're just going to say it will happen, it will never happen. But you also at the same time need to meet the right partner. Yeah, for men, if you're going to be all of these things, you can't have somebody who's going to put you under immense pressure, because it makes everything even twice or three times harder. You know, because your partner isn't understanding you. You need to understand that a woman can make or break you. Yeah? So if she's got a high lifestyle and you've got a basic normal job that you're working on, yeah, and that could be anything. I'm not looking down at anybody. Like, you could be a cashier, you could be a supervisor, a manager, yeah. But if you're earning £2,000 a month, for example, and she's wanting £1,000 treats every month, very quickly you won't be able to put money aside, grow some passive income, and then be present for her or any family, because you're just trying to adhere to her wants. Yeah, you're going, I'm trying to get you a Gucci handbag because I thought it'd make you happy. I'm trying to get you some new high heels because we were supposed to go out on a Friday night, you know. And if she wants a family and want you to provide, and you're going to take your salary into that sort of realm, you're never going to make her happy, if that makes sense. But then if you meet a similar kind of woman who says, look, I'm okay cooking tonight, yeah, we can go out at the end of the month and treat ourselves, but yeah, we'll go Costco's, we'll do the £500 shop for the whole month, and on top of that we'll just top it up with a bit of Tesco's here and there for the fresh foods and stuff. I'll cook something nice, we'll put a nice movie on, you know, but we need to put something aside, you know. Can we put something aside for, because we want to do this in the next 12 months, and you're working on stuff together, you're going to get a completely different result just by the woman that you've attracted, and you're working on stuff with life, because you're not trying to get that £1,000 Gucci handbag, you're trying to get that £1,000 in savings now. That's going to get your £12,000 at the end of the year, and after 24 months, 24 grand, which might get you a deposit on a flat that you're going to excel on in the future. But you worked on that together. She supported you by going, I've got your dinner ready, and get out there, and that's what we're going to do together. Don't worry about all of this other stuff. And that support, that is love as well. Like, she's showing you love and appreciation. And then when you come home, I'm not saying this is like right for everybody, but you know, like, maybe she's working as well, because nowadays you need a couple who are both working to bring that salary in. You know, and it's not to say that a man can't come home and cook as well.
I'm glad you said that. Do you think men struggle to accept if their partner earns more than them?
I've got friends whose partners earn more than them. I don't feel that they're struggling. I do feel there is a sort of power shift. So I feel like in them households that the women have more of a say on the decisions, that their decision is final.
Which could lead to insecurities in a relationship.
It could, because of just the natural environment. Like, men want to be strong. They want to be large and in charge. They want to have the last say because it makes them feel more masculine.
I'm only saying it because I'm going back to the DM. So I'm just literally, because of this one particular message, it was so long. And it's exactly what you were saying. So I'm asking that person's question because I know we've got a similar sort of role, and with our partners, we are supported, but in this particular case, I don't know. But in the scenario I've given, if the female does provide more, it could cause that, like you say, power shift, and then cause the insecurities within inside the relationship. So does the male then, or the man in the relationship, need to look at himself like you do and like I've done, and go, well, hold on a minute. If I love her, then it's all about working together towards what the end goal is. So it goes back full circle. What do you think?
So the example you're asking me here, Lewis, is if my woman earned more than me, still just support that and her decisions and stuff. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. So when I look at one of my friends, very close friend from primary, and I see his wife earns more, and at the same time I'm seeing her make more of the decisions, she's just better and stronger at it. And at the end of the day, they're getting further. And he actually doesn't mind about that. Another person who's very alpha would say, he's a bit of a pussy. But I don't look at it like that. I'm like, regardless, where's the finish line? They're both getting ahead. Because he doesn't possess them skills. He's a bit more laid back. He's a bit more softer. You get it? So when I see that, I'm like, but that's why they've also attracted each other. Because she's a strong female that, like, she wouldn't have attracted me. Because she's the, I don't need competition. Yeah.
Which is important for people to hear. It's when you've got to that stage and you can accept who you are. That's the thing. It's what you've just said there is very important for people to understand. It's you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but you have to work together on where you're going to. And then, like you just said, your friend there or your friends, he's fine with it because they know where they're going. But I would imagine that they've worked through stuff and whatever else, but they've attracted each other because of who they are, where they're going. But if there was a problem, then I would imagine they'd work through that together and talk through it themselves. But if it was an alpha male, then that's never going to happen. So the people that are messaging me and people that are struggling in business and the financial world, what would your message be to those? Because looking at you, you've gone from nothing to multi-millionaire that brings all the income in. It's quite easy for people to go, actually, it's easy for you, when I know it's not. Because it's not just the amount of money that you've made. You're constantly working on yourself, constantly working to earn more money and to be there to provide for your kids emotionally as well. So what would you say to these people? Because from what I hear, you're of the same opinion as me. Everyone should be treated equally. Everyone's got the same level of respect. I mean, I knew that of you anyway, but these people need to hear that.
The thing is what are you measuring? You know, if you measure by money, then you're automatically going to think, I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you, I have to be large and in charge. I use money as an instrument, as a tool. My partner, I don't measure her on money. I just measure her on what she brings to the table. So if you think she look afters my future generations, she look afters parents, household is moving, she's just as important. She's more important than me.
But again, that works for you. Some people, they'll go, but that doesn't work for me. Now, I completely understand what you're saying, but it's enabled you to build what you've built.
You need to let go of your ego.
That's it. That's what I wanted you to say.
You gotta let go of your ego. It's okay. Do you know what?
That's it.
I just don't think, like, in a way as well, if you meet the right woman, she doesn't need a lot. If she can hear you just say, you know, you can have this one, darling, like, you know, I know you're right. She'll treat you like a king for the whole month. Like, you know, wow, he let me, you know, like, win on that one. And I do women need to feel that they're valued as well, you know, and sometimes losing is the way you win.
Well, going off of what you said and feeling that pain and being fueled by pain is what changed you. And it certainly changed me. I would imagine it changed everyone. I mean, I know that you've had some people on your podcast, and that's certainly what fueled them. I mean, it's the greatest motivator for change. So tell me, tell me what happened after your school years.
So after the school years, I went to college. What, from college or after college?
Just after the
Yeah.
school years, because people need to know more about you.
So once I left school, I was the bad guy because I went into college and it was in a totally different area, and it was people who were really happy, bubbly, and there was me screw facing everybody like, "What are you looking at?" And I'd go and say, "What are you looking at?" And they go, "Nothing, bruv." I was like, "Yeah, you better put your eyes down." Like, it was just horrible. And it took a few of my friends to go, "Sean, can I speak to you for a minute?" I was like, "Yeah, what's the matter?" And it goes, "What are you doing that for?" And I was like, "No, because if I don't say that, he'll hit me." Because I've walked down the corridor where somebody's just on a puff chest. And what's a puff chest? And somebody takes their hand and just slams you so hard in the chest that you can't breathe and you think you're going to die. And it just felt like it was just going back to that memory that if I don't do this now and set the tone, I'm going to be that guy that pick on him, he won't do nothing. But then it had to be retrained myself that not everyone's been through my journey. People have been through mixed schools. People have been in different areas, not around council estate sort of rough areas. People who are doing drugs and being told to take drugs from here to there. These people don't know nothing about that. And so I changed in terms of going, stop doing this because you're going to be hated for treating people unkind, and these people, you don't need to do that around. And so I went from that guy to being really, really liked, like, he's sweet, he's actually a really nice guy. And I was like, yeah, this is who I really am, and I get to be more of me. So I went through college, had a good time, got into university, met a new bunch of people from totally different all around the country. My first year of university was so easy because I did it all in A-levels already through accounting and finance. Second couple of years were a little bit harder, but I met some really, really good people who are still my friends today from university. And I just 6 months before I graduated, I applied to Barclays as a cashier, just a normal cashier. And that was through a friend of mine. I think you know him, Emmanuel Asuko. Yeah, so he's a very good friend of mine since university days. And he was like, hey, just here's the number, call them up and they'll interview on this. And in February, before I graduated, in 2007, and I passed my first telephone interview. Then in May, I went and done a competency test, like with maths questions, passed that. And then June, July, my only request was with my future branch manager that if I get this job, can I have a day off for my graduation? And she goes, of course you can. And she said, I'll let you know on Monday. This was a Friday afternoon. I'll let you know on Monday if you've got the job. And I went through the Central Line, which took 20 minutes, got off at Stratford, and she rang me straight away on that Friday. And she goes, I'm really sorry, I can't wait till Monday. You've got the job. Like, I really, really like you. And it was a combination of using my university in terms of showing leadership on group projects and stuff, my experience in the cash and carry that I'd done, my experience in McDonald's, which I was currently working in, and also in my dad's shop. So it was like competency questions, and it was like the most easiest thing. It was like, yeah, test me, ask me a question, I can tell you somewhere where I've done that before. And so it was amazing for me. I started as a cashier. I had a blue suit, nice tie, 4 or 5 shirts that they'd given me, a couple of trousers. I was like, wow, this is wicked. I'm in Soho Square next to TCR, Tottenham Court Road, and I've got a job in a bank. Like, this is amazing. I've finally got my hands on some sort of money. I've got 15, 16 grand going to be coming in now, and I'm going to still keep my job in McDonald's. Because my belief system was from my dad. My dad was always in the shop 7 days a week. So that was normal. It wasn't, I have to do Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's like, no, I'm going to do exactly what my dad does. Because I've seen my dad do stuff with my uncle, partner up with him. The shop does okay. We're starting to do okay at home now. And I've seen him buy a property. And I'm just going to copy that blueprint. And that's where I was really, really lucky. I was really lucky that I had very, very good parents. I had a mum who really loved me, supported me, always sent me out like a king. That love, not everybody gets. And I had a real strong role model of a father who taught me, get out there and bust your ass. You cannot come home without putting money on the table and bringing home food. And even in college days, it was like, you start to get days off in college. And so you'd go college Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I did a McDonald's. But the 2 days, Tuesday, Thursday, I thought I deserve a little rest. I'm going to be in bed today, you know. I deserve this. I've been through school. I'm still doing my college. I'm going to get my A-levels. And I do McDonald's on the weekend, so I'm going to be good. Not in my dad's house. Alarm clock, 8 o'clock went off. Get down now. I thought it was a joke. I was rubbing my eyes. And he goes, you've had 1 or 2 weeks of this, but no more. I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's a day off. I don't need to go anywhere. Not in my house. Get out if you want to do that. So what else do I do? Get to the gym. He was, what? Get to the gym. When you come back from the gym, you can go and sleep after that. And he knew already I wouldn't go sleep. You know, who's going to go sleep after 12 o'clock? When you're young, 16, 17, you got all that testosterone in you. You're going to see what the day's about. And just them little habits of him being that army general and then going, yeah, get to the gym, go and do a bench press, go and learn how to be in the gym. It just put that routine in that even today, before this podcast, I've gone to the gym. The day of my mum's funeral, I woke up 6:30 and I went to go to the gym because it's sort of my coping mechanism of how I can handle my day. Is I need to put myself through, as you know, to calm myself, to be ready for my day now. It's part of a routine, but it's a brilliant, beautiful routine. You know, it really, you know, did that endorphin rush, that dopamine hit that you get is so underrated in the gym that when you do that, you can be ready for anything. And that is how I cope. So that love from my mum and dad, shown in their own way, because at the time I was like, I hate you. Like, why are you making me do this? Like, no one else's mum and dad's teaching them that. But them habits, them traits of that love and discipline combination made me the man that I am today. They made me. They made it happen. They gave me the tools and that environment. And that's what I sort of would love to sort of pass on to the next generation. So when people come to me and going, I didn't have the same upbringing as you, I'm trying to fill that little bit of gap to say, your big brother's here now. What's up? You know, people go for the property strategy stuff. They'll get it. They'll understand it. And then the cracks will start to show and go, you know, I lost my dad 4 years ago, you know, and I felt so helpless and I've just buried my whole head in the sand. But it needs somebody to come in and go, okay, I understand that. I know that's happened. But what would make your dad proud right now? Would he still want you sitting there dwelling? Or would he want to be your angel next to you and going, I'm supporting you through whatever you're doing. He's still with you, carrying that. And just these little conversations go, I never heard anyone say that. I never had no one to talk to because I bottled it up. But I create that approachable sort of talking, sort of conversations that people go, yeah, can I tell you something? Yeah, bro, please, go ahead. I won't think you're weak. I don't think you're bad. I won't think anything. I won't judge you. The fact that people think you're a nice guy when they meet you and go, you're same as social media as in person, and just being authentic, you gain that trust level in terms of letting people open up to you. And when they start to open up, that's when you start going, well, that's really your issue. It's because you can't move on from that event, but you need to move on from that event if you want to get ahead in your life. You got to stop letting things hold you back, you know?
And then that's obviously what you're helping people do now.
So I'm helping people get into property and showing them I'm not a marketer. I am a real life person who's got a portfolio and who's actively buying. And 95% of people out there teaching property are not doing that. They're not actively buying. So how would you know how to negotiate right now? How would you know who to go for lending right now? How do you know where all these other stumbling blocks that may come, where regulations change every year, AML checks, anti-money laundering, what passport details you need, identity you need, what SA 302s you need, what your accountant might ask for, what banks might ask for? You could easily skip or not understand it and go, oh, here's a checklist and just do that. But when you have a problem, that's when you really need somebody, not when there's not a problem. So when you've been through a lot of problems and still going through problems after being 20 plus years in property, that is a mentor, because that is somebody going to help you get out of trouble or recommend you to a person who's going to help solve your problems. So somebody who says, I've got a black book here. You've got trouble with your mortgage, or you've got trouble by even finding properties. You've got problem finding builders. Here's some builders I used. They might be a little bit more pricey, but you won't get a problem out of them, and they'll come back and fix your problem. You just got to start buying right now. And I'll show you what I'm looking at right now after 20 years. So you get access to that. You can try and guess this. You can try and guess, I'm going to start property today, and in 20 years, I'm going to be £10 million or 100 million. How are you going to get there? And what I'm trying to show you is, how about if you had somebody with 20 years experience next to you who's done pretty well, and you have access to their contacts? Will you get there faster? You tell me.
And I mean, obviously, I know you've got a portfolio. We've obviously done the site visit at one of my flats, where you've been to a few. But with your method and the way it works, how can people prove it and explain how that actually works? But I mean, like I say, I can actually vouch for it. I know Sean, I know that he's got the portfolio, so we're not here to sell this to you. But again, I know I've spoken out. I'm not going to name anyone because I think that you are friends with a few of them, but against some of the marketing strategies they use, Sean doesn't do, because I think they actually make more money out of their education, which they admit. You're not doing that. You're doing something that's different, which is actually standing next to them while they build something that's going to create what is as passive as it can be, but you're going to put your arm around them while they do it.
The thing is, this stuff excites me. It's what gets me out of bed. It's not a job for me. It's a lifestyle for me. And if I can create other people doing what I'm doing and putting food on the table, it's the excitement that they're going to be somewhere in their life. They're going to be able to provide something for their family. That little bit of happiness that I have, other people, I know how it feels. That I can afford £30,000 every term for private education, piano lessons, a car for myself, a car for my partner, mortgage paid for, and all we're looking at what is the next investment without no thoughts and feelings of being emotional to what's coming out this month. That's not an issue. Why can't other people feel like that? Because at one stage in my life I didn't have that, and I wish I was on the other side. But now I've got the formula of doing that. Why not help other people do that?
No, I think you're right. So there is something which I think, I don't know if you're going to, you might know. I would challenge that property is the safest investment out there. I think businesses.
It all depends on what you know. So I don't know much on many businesses apart from the property industry. It's all I know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and navigate my way through property. I'm still doing deals that are working. And I want to teach that as well. So for example, if there's a buy-to-let, yeah? Buy-to-lets are broken, right?
Yeah.
Not if it's turned into two flats.
Yeah.
Because you're earning double bubble on the interest, and it's not going to appeal to a house owner, so it's only going to be an investor. And my last 3 deals have been that way, and one of the flats pay for the mortgage and insurances, and the other one's pure profit. So I'm still getting about 18 to 20 grand a year profit on that sort of deal. So buy-to-lets are broken and everybody talk about that. But I've still bought 3 of these houses that have been split up. So there's loads others.
But are the people that are coming to you understanding the concept of raising finance, being able to actually then purchase these flats, convert it, and then pull that money out? Because again, obviously I know that you can definitely make money in property. I'm not against property. I'm not Simon Scribb that's actually saying that property is rubbish. I'm not like that at all, because as you know, I actively do buy properties.
Yep.
But and again, as you know, I've helped people in property, but from an investment point of view, the return on it now, we are squeezed.
We are.
We are really squeezed, and the people that are coming in now, the main two skills really, if you're just talking as an investment, from my opinion, are finding them and raising capital. And if you don't know how to raise the capital, you will run out of cash.
Absolutely.
And from a tax point of view, there is nothing worse at the moment, apart from we're getting absolutely torn to pieces. That's why, from a business point of view, I'd rather get paid from multiple people than one. And there isn't a time like the present to either acquire a business or start one and get paid by multiple people. So that's the thought process behind it. And again, I am actively acquiring properties still, but you have to be so careful. And I know this is why I know that you are, and your model, it works, and you don't pump out shit like others. Again, I'm careful because I know you're friends with them. And yeah, if that's why I want you to explain your method compared to others without naming, because it is important that people distinguish the two, I believe.
So first of all, it is about what have you got in the bank, or what have you got access to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've got sort of the land method, which is locate the right deal, because if you buy wrong in the first place, you're always going to be playing catch up in terms of the build costs will spiral, the development finance, bridging finance, that's all added. There's so many other fees apart from just buying the product itself, which is the house. You've got stamp duty, you've got a surcharge, lending is higher when it comes to the business account, and in a business sort of formation, everything's more expensive. So you've got to buy correctly, first of all. So we go through that quite rigorously in terms of how are you buying and where are you looking and what's coming into that area, what's coming in for regeneration, it's not just the value right now, what's going to be the value in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, how's that's going to be a good investment. And that, first of all, it comes down to when you're looking at these properties, you got to understand property is not overnight. It's something that takes time. And that's something that I always make clear. When you want to win in property, it's not something that you're just going to buy next year. You're going to be earning, I've got £1 million coming in. It's not that kind of game. But will it give you financial freedom if you're somebody who's earning £2,000 and getting through? I reckon if you get into property in the next 5 to 7 years, you definitely can fill that hole up to go, that's enough coming in for me and I can live off this money. Then also, if you run it in a business environment rather than in a personal name, there's ways you can pay yourself tax-free amounts and through dividends, which actually lower everything. So where you see on the news today that, hey, we're going to be taxing 8% NI on your property income, but that's if it's in your personal name. It's not NI on your business account, is it? So you've got to know how you're holding these properties in the right formations.
But what if we take it out and pay ourselves a salary? Does it still count then?
I don't think it does. It doesn't. It's just a payment for being a director of that company, It
won't if you take it as a dividend, but for everyone listening, it obviously that's the difference with what you're saying and how obviously that iBuy is. It's a long-term game. You buy one. You may sell one. I think you do lose money when you sell. We buy to hold, don't we? Because it might pay you £500. You might have a 5-year plan and you might go, right, there's £500 profit. Great. Our goal is £2,000, but we're going to keep recycling the money to get to that goal. But it is a long-term plan.
It's a very long-term plan. But in the same case as yourself, Lewis, if I had a choice to buy a business or property, they're two completely different things. Right now, if I had nothing, I'd go for a business because that business is going to cash flow and give you money to buy that property. Whereas property itself is a very slow burner. It's a slow game. and it's actually just a store of value now. It's two completely different things.
Correct.
It might have got you a lot of cash flow before the licensing came on. That was £1,000 on that. All these taxes came in. Section 24 came in, where you could claim back all your mortgage interest at even the higher level. There was a lot more money, but we're now being squeezed. A surcharge came in 3%. Now that surcharge on the stamp duty is now 5%. It's very little at the end of the pot. But what it does do is it hedges things like inflation.
Yes.
So when you buy it at 200,000, when they start printing more money, the price of houses will go up, because when you're earning wages and inflation is incurring, which means your pound is going down, they have no choice but to increase your wages to buy goods and services. And when they do that, house prices will also increase in the same line, which means the store of value that you have there, if you chose to sell it at a later date, will go up. And that's just proving it just through the history of time.
If you buy right.
If you buy correctly. And I still think that even if you buy dodgedly, even within 10-year gap, you'll recuperate it. But it's just time and that resilience and that mindset of holding on to that asset to go, I'm going to ride the wave, which is very, very hard, because sometimes it's just easier to go, if I sell this, I make a 10 grand loss, but that will be the end of the headache. That could be a possibility. But if you're resilient enough to say, no, I've made a mistake, but I've got to hold on to this. I know after the next market cycle, things will reset. This will be a good investment. Because anyone who's ever bought property from the 2000s, 2010s, and who's ever sold, every single one of them look back and go,
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when we first looked at the one that I saw, I was like, oh,
You know?
it's about 60 grand more.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And that was the first lesson my granddad taught me. He said, in 1970, I bought this house for £2,000. And he goes, I thought I was a real G. After 6 months, I sold it at £6,000. And he goes, that tripled my income. And at that time in 1977, we was going through a real turmoil in terms of interest rates and market crashes, that within 6 months, that ended up being £60,000. He goes, how much of a muppet did I look? I bought that for 3 grand and I sold it for 6. And it's now worth 60, 10x from that. I missed out big time. And he goes, that was number one lesson I learned. And he didn't understand economics. He didn't understand how monetary, fiscal policies, all of this worked. He just went, when you get something locked in, it's so hard buying it in the first place by getting lending or getting all of the, your finances sorted, solicitors involved. Just hold on to the asset, because over time, and that's exactly what I did. And guess what? It was hard back then and other people couldn't buy, but he did, and he did very well at that game, that he ended up buying a 4-story house. My uncle lived here, my dad lived here, my other uncle lived there, my grandparents lived here, and he used to just like collect everybody's money, like the debt collector, and then just buy a house. And same thing again, buy another house. And then what he did, he moved out the kids into their own places. So it was everything a little bit with more community, more joint. Mm-hmm. But he was able to buy properties, not as investments, not as buy-to-lets, but just houses for his kids to live in, because they had partners and then they had children. Like my oldest uncle had 7 kids. He had 5 boys and 2 girls. My other uncle had 5 kids too. 4 boys and a girl, and then my dad had 5 kids. So eventually everybody moved into their own, and then they were left with this 4-story building that they went, all right, we'll just put a couple of partitions and turn them into 4 flats. Let's do that, because we don't want to sell it. And then there was 4 incomes coming, plus the shop that they had bought, and then my dad would run that with his brother. And then next minute the shop opposite, the butcher's shop, was up for sale. And it was up for 30 grand. And then my granddad goes, here's a gift for you guys, 10 grand. I've saved that from the property portfolio, that the money's come in, and haven't touched that money. My dad will put 10 grand in. My uncle put 10 grand in. And then my dad and my uncle were partners in that and bought it cash. They didn't have a loan. And then end up going, all right, let's get the builders to plaster this up and clean it up. Did that. We'll rent the flat upstairs and we'll rent the shop downstairs. It was a bit of a bad time where businesses weren't doing well at that sort of time, so they'd lose out on a better rent there. But they bought the whole place cash, and then they'd rent the flat above and go, oh, a little bit's coming into that NatWest account now. And then they would save up that, and they'd never look at the property accounts, but what they would do is use that money to buy another place. And then they bought another shop with the flats, and another one. And this was the time I went to work in Barclays, and then I realised that's what they were doing, so I saved up and said, Dad, how do I do this? I've got money saved up. And then just luckily bought my first one in Dagenham by saving 14,000, putting 10% down. Bought my first one, saying, look, I'm doing it too. I'm one of the boys. Because my dad made the family proud and I wanted to make the family proud. So what a great role model that was. Like, he started that belief. He started what steps I should be taking. And then it got harder and harder and harder. But I eventually became a builder. And that's when I sort of surpassed him, because I knew how to fix stuff and make it look good. And how to uplift the property value on extensions, where he'll just point fingers a little bit here and there.
Do you think well, there's a couple of things actually. There's actually loads. With how hard it is to actually buy a property now, do you think people have actually got the capacity to take it on anymore? Or do you think the people that are buying them are too easily distracted?
I think anyone who wants to buy property and get into the property industry and really wants to make something of themselves, they're going to go through them hoops. And people got to know what it entails. So if you watch an hour webinar or an hour class to go through, you'll understand all of the hoops, and you should be showcasing this is what you need to go through.
But I don't think you can on a webinar. I honestly don't think you can. If you watch a webinar, they're not going to tell you. But you can be told. You got to experience it. Because like you had to become the builder to really understand in person how much time and money you saved. Maybe not time, but money you saved. And again, when you transferred everything into a business name, right, you saved even more. And with the restrictions in, and again, we'll go into like what Labour, how much shit they've caused us. But are people really wanting to buy property, or are they distracted by the next shiny penny? Could be a business, could be a e-commerce, could be Amazon, whatever it is. But there are people, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm interested to see how many people have come to you and gone, I'm interested in property. I've watched the webinar, like you say, they've probably watched 1,000 of them. But what separates the people that go, I'm doing it, to, I just want information?
So there's a lot of people that come through your DMs and people going, just tell me in 1 hour how to make it to 10 million like you. There'll be a lot of them people. And you'll end up wasting an hour with that person. It's the ones who are sort of action takers who will say, you're running a site visit. Yep, I am running a site visit and I'm not charging £10,000. It's a drink, £99 to come to a site visit. I'm probably going to have your lunch there as well, get sandwiches and everything. You're also going to get a network of people who are like-minded like you, who are looking for that as well. You're going to learn with me of an active project that's going on. So what do you have to lose? It's not. And if you thought it wasn't right for you, then you'll just say, spent a day with Sean. He showed me a property around. He showed me what the builder's doing, what the finance is doing on this, what problems they're having currently. I'm out for this, because it's not just learning about it on textbook now. It's now being on a site going, wow, this is what it really looks like. It's like if you take a surgeon into operating theatre who's never done it before, he won't have a clue what he's doing. But guess what? He's been learning for a year, 2, 3 years, 7 years by textbook. But going into that operating theatre is completely different. It's everything you've read about and written about and been tested on is around you, but you've never literally grabbed it and done it. Like, imagine opening somebody up. It's completely saying open somebody up and fix them. But then have you actually really experienced the body in front of you that you're piercing through and the skin is ripping through and you're going, oh my God, I've never seen gushing blood like that before. Or do you need somebody next to you going, right, here's a scapula, put the incision from this point, put it down to here and stop there at the belly button, because if you go any lower you might cut this or sever this vein that we learned about. Remember that. Oh yeah, open it, right, this is what you need to do. Oh, something's gone wrong, let me jump in, next time you know to do this, and we'll get better at this. That's a difference to just textbook learning, and that's what I'm trying to mimic when it comes to property learning. Come on a site with me, because I can come up with so many names that I didn't understand before and make myself look good in front of you, and you're going, oh, I just learnt about this flitch beam. Have you heard of a flitch beam before? Well, I know all about flitch beams and how the screws go and the bolts go into that. It's just a piece of metal that goes in between a piece of wood. I could show you that in a second and you go, oh, I get what that means. I've made some notes. I've learned about it. I've seen it. So when I'm with the builders are not going to charge me $5,000 more. It's just a piece of metal that I just go to Metallica and Co. Go and get that ordered. Make sure it's been sprayed with the right fireproof sort of paint, etc. And I can get that done. Like, I'm trying to hold your hand as much as possible, and then also bringing you into sort of a deal analysis room to go, when you do get one of these deals, come into the room, bring it, and let's analyze it together to see what problems you would face with my hat on with 20 years experience. So it's trying to really get you to mimic what I'm doing as close as possible.
So it's not only, I mean, I completely agree. I would say, forget, if you are serious about going into property, I wouldn't bother jumping on a webinar. I would go onto a live project and say, first thing, what's gone wrong, what's gone well, and what's caused you the most headache. And then you'll quickly realise whether you even want to be part of that and whether it fits your plan. Like what we've done at mine, and like you've probably done at all the others, because you'll very, very quickly realise if it does matter what the strategy is, whether it's short lease, HMO, commercial conversions, building from the ground up, but you'll be able to realise whether you can take that on, or you have the capacity to actually be bothered to do it, or if it fits your plan. But learning from a webinar, jumping from HMO, spending 3 hours there when you could actually be on the project, and it's probably cheaper, because the same people that are on these sites would no doubt have been on the webinars anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people do a lot of learning, but not enough action. And it's action where things actually happen. If you want to know you do it or not. So I totally agree with you there. So that's one point. And there's also another arm that I've sort of looked into, and that's where some people want to get into property, but they want cash flow, and they want to earn from property, but they don't have the time. So if that somebody's there who's a high earner or has got a large savings balance, then that's where I use all my expertise, resources and network to help people as well. So recently I had a project which was in North London, and I don't even want to say the area because the industry is very, very close and you can lose deals very quickly. But there was a deal where next door sold for 2.56 million, and it was a normal house that was just a single buy-to-let lived in. So not a higher spec, not a smart house, but it sold very quickly for 2.56 million. We'd got a probate that come in at 1.3 million. So at 1.3 million, because it was a probate and it ticked that it was uninhabitable for the last 2 years, there was also no stamp duty. And that stamp duty can easily go into a couple of £100,000. So there was a big saving from there. We'd got a team of builders that we've been using for the last 8 years that would charge, they quoted already on it like 380,000. We bumped it up to 450,000 just to be safe because things go wrong on projects. We then put bridging and finance costs in there and calculated that to be about 200,000. And bridging cost was 80 to 120. We put it to 200,000 in case for 2 extra months we had to stay on a bridge and pay extra 20,000. So we just put it up to 200,000. All in came at £2 million. And you think next door, and it's a totally detached house, and we know what spec, and you can check out 5 of the other projects that we've been doing. The lending was being taken over. that we would give a PG against under the bridging and development. So we've got skin in the game as well. But on your money, all we needed was the petrol money. And the petrol money was 25% of 1.3 million. So it was around about 325,000. And then another 100 on top of that, which would be 50,000 for the development. So you always have to put your money in first before you claim that back. And 50,000 was a fee. So it was originally came in at 1.7 million. We negotiated it down to 1.3 million. So for that, the agent said, look, I've got you about 400,000 off. I want 50 for it. So we negotiated that down. And then the next thing after that is on the sale, we had 2 top agencies who knew the end clients who would buy this. So we didn't predict it to be 2.56 million. We'd predict it that we're going to make this into a smart house with air conditioning, underfloor heating, a smart system for different lights to come on at different times. You had about 6 different settings from when you look inside the house to your living room, into your kitchen, to your outdoor kitchen, into your outdoor building. You could set it at different sort of lighting, something that you would expect of buying a house from 2.5 to 3 million. We know the end client wants, and we know what kind of client buys that. And so people say, well, how much am I going to spend on exiting on this? Well, we said a flat fee of 2.5 grand for the sell fee, but anything for every 100,000 we earn above 2.5 million, the agent gets 10,000 extra. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, but imagine you sold this for 3 million. Because of the prime location it is, people would pay. The extra 500,000 would end up being 50,000 only to an agent. You'll make £450,000 more. So for somebody to bring their 400,000, if they were like an investment banker or someone of that nature, and there's smaller deals that come through as well, we've got a whole setup to say, put your money here and we'll give you a percentage of profits from this. So for example, within 9 months, we could achieve at least 30% of your money. Now, you might think, oh, but you're getting this, you're getting that. Remember all of the resources to get that deal, the project management to see it through, the experienced builders that we're using for the last 8 years at a high-end project, and also selling that deal so we're not going to be stuck with it and using the right network. All of that is the pressure on us. And all that person's got to come in and do and go, look, I know I'm investing my money, but I know what this is worth because we've got a prime precedence there at the end of the product there. And then you think, what if it doesn't sell? Well, everything sells at the right price.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine we had to go for 2.2 million. You still make a couple of 100,000, and then you can put a clause in there and say, hang on, I'm not worried about that shiny penny of getting 30%. I just want to make sure I get 150. We can put a clause in there. We can guarantee you 150 on this money, but anything over this figure is now ours then. Then we can give you security on that sort of side of things. And this is a very, very big game. It's with people who have been in the industry 18 years, who just work in that area, who know every single price per square inch. And we're looking for investors on that sort of side of things as well, because why miss out on these deals? Because as you say, you do run out of money very, very quickly when you're in this game. I meet millionaires, multi-millionaires, people who are doing £30 million GDV projects, earning 14 million profit from their projects, and they run out of money after their 5th projects. And why they come to you is, hey, Sean, you've got a brilliant network. When you put a post out, so many people see it. Do you think you could get a pool of investors? Because what we want to do is create a fund. Because once we get to 3, 4, 5, 600 units, we get to launch this on the stock exchange, and then money is unlimited then. You can get as much money as you want. So I'm like, what's little old Sean going to be doing? But obviously I have a skill, that I have a network. I've got a presence online. And I've got to stop saying all of this. Why is people watching my channel? I've been here bloody 4 years, banging on that door every single day, showing people about property and what I'm doing. And yes, I might not be selling anything, but indirectly, people want to buy from you because they're going, yeah, he's not selling anything, but he's teaching me everything about property. And you only know that when when a catastrophe, like you lose your mum, for example, and all your DMs are just full of people going, I'm really, really sorry to hear what you're going through. I know I've never spoken to you, but I've been watching you for 3 years. And like the amount of messages I got, like over 3,000 messages, I was like, I don't know half of these people. I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to start to reply. But you think they're all watching. They're all watching. If you ever put something out on social media that was a little bit adverse and it included in it, trust me, you get a DM within under a minute. There will be DM you. What did you just say on socials? Is that target at me? They're all watching. Everyone's watching, bro.
So you're the connector.
I am a connector. 'Cause I'm a likable person. I'm somebody who relates to people a lot. I don't judge nobody. I don't put anyone down. I try to understand people. And certain people I understand and I like, they'll stay in the network. And certain people I will get along with, but they might not fit with my values and we just won't talk as much, you know. But I never ever burn a bridge. I never ever attack anybody. I always feel that somebody has a reason for what they're doing, but I never try to spoil my brand. And that's something people at home should think about. What does my brand look like?
So you've been building it for 4 years?
On social media.
On social media.
But I've been building it my whole life since being a kid. Because I've had labourers who've messed up jobs for me. And I say, please leave my building site. And here's your money for the day. And so before they can even argue with me, like, I done this, I've given them money. And they're like, yeah, I didn't want your job anyway. And it's funny, within like a couple of weeks or a month's time, they come knocking on your door and go, I ain't got no more work. And you've got some job for me. I was like, no, you messed my last job up, remember? Like, let's just leave it nicely. No, Sean, at the 6 days, cut 2 of my days' money out. That's on me. Like, I know I did you wrong. All right, cool. Jump back in. Let's see what we can do. They always end up coming back. But I've not spoilt my brand. I've never made I'm going to cut your money. I allow them to understand what they've done wrong and go, how valuable was you when I was working with you? How much you kept me busy. Do you know what I mean? So I allow people to see for themselves. And the ones who don't see, they will never see it anyway. And it's okay for them to walk off. And the ones that do see, they will come and they will stick around, and then they won't make that mistake again and realize, hang on, I understand the way you work. And I'd rather get paid maybe a little bit less, but stay busy the whole year, rather than going for that shiny penny and then only being busy 2-3 months of the year and the rest just twiddling my thumbs, dealing with mental health and not doing anything like of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, that is a big thing in the industry as well, isn't it? In like the building industry as well, mental health. But so what is next for you? What is next for you? I know you've obviously got the education arm that you said that you was bringing in.
I'm very, very excited about the education arm because I don't need any money from the education arm. So I'm very intrigued to see what I can deliver. And I want to deliver something completely different, new and refreshing to the whole property space. I know there's a lot of big boys who are watching. I know I don't need a lot of sponsorship, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a queue of people who would want to be part of events and things happening. I'm very excited about reinvestment. So it's all about making dreams come true. So you've heard people like going, oh, it's £500 for a raffle ticket and here's a Porsche that I'm going to give to somebody. You get enough money in the pot to pay for the Porsche, but you give it away for free. It would be my absolute dream. And I'd love to come back on here if I could make that true. But imagine making some money through education and then contributing towards someone's deposit to get them started in the property field. That would be like an absolute dream come true to me, that I'm changing lives and making things happen for other people. You know, something of that nature, which I would love to do. Currently this month, I've been nominated for 3 awards in the Signature Awards. I've been nominated for 6 awards in the MPA Awards as well, and they were in a lot of categories, and I've been shortlisted. So I've been nominated and then shortlisted on these. So I'm very excited to see if maybe I can. Let me just say, I never even got an attendance award. Like I just barely scraped for an attendance award, punctuality, and that's just for turning up. You know, I'd always look at the guy who got the maths or science or this award, and it was just like, hey, I'm in an industry where I'm being appreciated as one of them people. So I'm looking forward to that. and being an award winner. It's just a bit of pride that other people have recognized your good work. And I've also got my book coming out. So, Fast Foods to Financial Freedom. I'm not sure if that's the exact title, but that book is going to be coming out. I've already combed over it in terms of the Grammarly sort of side of things, but also if you know Pippa Middleton, which is Prince William's wife's sister, I've got the same editor who's looking over my book currently, and she's going down to like all the nitty-gritties. I've written a really good book, so it's my story. I've got a publishing house who wants to publish it for me already and given me an offer, and I'm like, I've heard in the industry you're good enough to publish this yourself. Go on Amazon and publish it yourself. You've got actual better social media channels and enough sort of awareness to do this yourself. And knowing me, I'll probably do a launch party. So invite some celebrities and a lot of my network to launch this properly. Because if you're going to do something, do it properly. You know what I mean? And I'm at that level. I should be doing it. So I'll get enough people sharing it. I've never called upon favors of some of my network, but I know when I will be calling them, say, would you come to my party? And this is what I want to do. And I want to make a change. This book, I think, can help the world through my journey, and it's got lessons in it. So I'm really, really excited about this book, because I really think that, if a publishing house is so excited about publishing it, I'm like, right, so I know it's good enough. When I've read it, shown it to an editor, she's like, this is really, really good. We just need to fix a bit of the grammar. And she asked me silly questions like, what do you mean by this word or by this thing? And it's like, it's exactly what I wanted, because she opens up that, oh, I meant it like this. And she goes, well, you didn't say that. Sometimes the most simple thing is you don't know how to say it simply. And so I was like, oh, let's open that up and make it a bit more simpler then. And she's like, knows it down to, this is 2 spaces. It should be a space and a half, because when it's on this device, it will look like this. She was working for like a journalist for 35 years. She understands that English. And I'm like, okay, so I tick the story box. I tick the editing sort of style of it. Like, I just want to make sure, even if it just sells 1 copy and helps 1 person, I just want to make sure it looks correct, how it should, because we're going to do it properly, launch it properly. So the awards, the book's coming out, which is massive. I've got a property completing next year in Dubai. I'm really looking forward to that sort of side of things as well. So many good things to come. The education arm is going to be launching, so I can't wait to help people. And I've got a sort of a business partner who's assisting me with the technical side, and I'm just keen to see what he delivers on that sort of side of things, because very quickly I'll shut things down if things are not properly done. I'm not willing to compromise my brand. And I've built really, really good relationships, like with multimillionaires and billionaires, that I'm willing to see what sort of business we can do, because there's always levels to the game, and I'm still in the game learning. So if I can connect people, buyers and sellers, and make people money and make things successful for them, it's another thing that I'm successful at, that I've become like almost an online estate agent without having no shop front, just through my personal brand.
I mean, you've certainly built a great personal brand. That is one thing you've done really, really well. You've done other things really well as well. What does success mean to you or look like to you?
Success is when you can wake up in the morning happy. So you're excited about your day, and you just don't know where it goes. You wake up, you're happy, it goes, and you're sitting down with your family again, and it's just like, wow, this is how my life is? Like, it feels like I'm living heaven, a dream. That's what success is. It's not measured by how much money I'm earning. It's not mattering about how many deals I've done. It's literally, I've just woken up. And to me, I do what I love. For somebody else, it might be like, that's boring, but I do what I love. Like today, I've gone to the gym, happy. Come to see one of my good mates, I'm happy. We're talking on a podcast, hopefully inspiring somebody or helping someone on the journey. I'm happy. I come back, I've got to get a few emails and a few other things done. I'm talking about a few of the projects that I'm doing, getting that moving along. I'm happy. I get to see my kids. I get to see my puppy. I get to see my family. I'm happy. Saturday, I go to Romania in 2 days' time. going to see my business partner over there, looking forward to go to a nice spa place, doing a bit of business on the laptop, Sunday, another different place. I'm happy. I'm living life on my terms. I'm doing what makes me happy, and that's success. That's a successful week. It's when you're sitting down, you're going, I don't know what to do in my day, or I've gone through this pain, and how do I get over this, and what am I... That's not success. Then it's just barrier and stalling, and you're not moving, and the days are dragging, and you know what I mean. I don't ever want to be in that position, and I've had some tests.
How do you get out of them? How do you get out of that position?
So there's always a solution, and something that also sometimes we don't have the answer for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I was always taught is, believe in God. And some people, how do you know there is a God? But one thing I ask you is, what do you lose out of believing in something so positive? How can you lose? If you read some words, some scripture, we all don't know what's coming on the other side once we pass or where we go. But when I lost my mum, I was there. And I felt many spiritual things. My mum was in a hospital bed at home. And I saw her in front of me, and I was holding her hand and had to tell her she's going to be okay, because I knew she could hear me. And then I remember a light come on in the garden. And then within 2 minutes, she got up and reached up and went, Mum. And when she said, Ma, and then she kind of just went back into sort of fully morphined up. But I felt like energy in that room. I felt something different that I've never felt before. And it felt like they always say that your elders always come to collect you. And I felt like this whizzing bit of energy. And that mum wasn't how my nanny looked, like my mum's mum. It wasn't how she looked, because that's just a vehicle. This is just a vehicle. There's a soul, an energy inside you that's something completely different to, because this shell will leave you one day. Because I saw my mum on the floor when the paramedics were doing what they had to. I put my mum in a body bag. I carried that body bag into the vehicle. I remember tipping the guy going, please be careful, my mum's body. But when I saw my mum's body, it wasn't my mum anymore. My mum had already left into this different energy, and it felt like my nanny come and collected, and it felt like almost like this gust of energy that comes away into a life form, lives, and then it always goes back on its journey. And it feels like the thing that started that journey, when it came from my mum's mum, come and collected. And I felt something so spiritual and so high that before even my mum's funeral, it took 2-3 weeks, I felt my mum around. I felt like the TV came on by itself 2:00 in the morning, and it's like everyone got up and it was on YouTube on a song. So if you ever have a TV and you've put it on, it takes time for YouTube to load and put a song on. And that's never happened in my life before. How does that happen? Because my mum's energy was still there. I was sitting down in front of my dad, my sisters, my family, and someone knocks on the door, like on the garden. Dunk! And we all stopped and turned and went, was that Mum? And we look out, and there's not fox. There's nothing around. And the door was open by like an inch and closed it. And he goes, Mum would always knock on that window and go, close the door. And it's like, wow, I've never felt that before. I've never even thought about it, about where do we go when we pass. But when someone's so close, the closest person to you goes, all of a sudden you see these things and you think, wow. But I do have to say, once she was cremated, it didn't feel like she was there anymore. I couldn't feel her. It felt like she went on her journey. But this is something so spiritual. Why did she go? She didn't want to go. Why did she go through so much pain? Why did she have to... What did she do for that suffering? I don't have the answers. But the ultimate thing is, you don't get to decide. Neither do I, or neither does she. It's always God's plan. And God isn't a man in the sky with long hair, or... God, nobody will understand you. We don't need to understand God. But what we believe in is there's no start or no ending. It just carries on. Whatever happens. So sometimes when you listen to something a little bit religious, could be Christianity, Sikhism, Islam, Buddhism. Just believe in something, because sometimes when you listen to it and listen to these gospel, these scriptures, it just gives you that little life form of, it's not your fault. It's not down to you. It's something that happened, but it's not your decision. You know, you could have gone to every appointment. You could have took her to Germany. It wasn't your fault. It was just her time to go. I remember sitting down with one of the priests when we was doing the week-long ceremony that us Sikhs do. And I said, what do you put it down to? And he was so religious, and they read the scriptures, the Guru Granth Sahib, every single day. And he goes, let me tell you a story, son. And he was young, he was 25-year-old, but we've been all his life in the Gurdwara. And he said to me, 2 people had an accident on the same day. One fell off a cliff and survived. Another one just fell off a little roof 3 meters, and the one fell off a cliff survived. Don't ask me how, but the truck fell off the cliff, hit, but he got out alive. And the one who fell off of just a 3-meter roof died. When it's your time, it's your time. You don't get to decide. It's just your time. So when you start getting a little bit more spiritual and start reading into God and this energy, you start going, it gives you a leaf. It gives you somewhere else to go, your thoughts to go and go, okay, it's not my fault. Okay, maybe I was a good son. And then you open to listen to your aunties, uncles. You know, you helped your mum with that song. That was beautiful. I don't know any other son that's done that. And then you just listen to yourself. What regrets do you have? I was there every single step of the way. And that makes the whole journey 50% of everything easier. So if you've got a loved one there, especially your family, the ones that you started with, and you've got a grudge, be the bigger person and go and crush that grudge.
Who are you thinking of when you said that?
I'm not thinking of anybody. I was taught very good by my mum, be the bigger person always, Sean. I've got older siblings who I may not think is right sometimes, but I just say okay anyway and just show respect. And that stops me and my thoughts going into a different gear, because I'm going, I have to avoid that person. I have to avoid this person. I can't sit in that same room. This is going to be awkward. I never have to face that. I always just put myself down and go, yeah, you're right, cool. Yeah, you're older. Yeah, good. All right, now I get to sit in that room. I don't need to acknowledge that person as much. I don't need to be right in front of that person. They have a different understanding to me. And maybe they're right in their own way. But I always have been taught that way by my mum and said, always be the bigger person. You'll crush them with love. And so I'm just passing that same information. I'm just a vehicle saying to other people, that works for me. I can go to any networking event and go, I've not said anything bad about anybody, or allegations, or point a finger to anybody, or said something wrong, or I have to avoid that person. That's horrible. To go in front of 200-300 people and go, I have to avoid that person. Hi, how are you doing? Cool. Everything all right? Yeah. Just keep it sweet. It doesn't cost you anything apart from a little bit of pride, a little bit of ego, but it makes life flow so much easier. And let them deal with their own traumas, their problems. And let somebody else have that conversation with them who can't handle themselves. Don't be that person yourself.
Take me back to, obviously, the situation with your mum. For people, obviously, that don't know, obviously, you've explained a little bit about it.
Yeah.
How are you feeling in that moment? What was going on?
In the moment she passed? I was actually totally okay at that stage. I was actually totally okay. 3 days before, it was basically like a Friday, Saturday, my sister came over after a little while. She hadn't seen my mum. And my mum was sitting up. And she would talk to us, but she wouldn't talk too much. She was quite frail, sitting up. And my brother-in-law there, my sister was there, and I was just trying to keep up the conversation. And that was sort of the last time my mum had full sort of consciousness on that Saturday. And then she was like, I need a paracetamol, and sort of just laid, and you wouldn't get a lot out of her sometimes. And then I went to bed, and I just remember her screaming 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't take it no more. It's just like, and what was happening is her knees were hurting. The only thing I could just think of is maybe fluid and stuff was draining out of her body, and there wasn't much movement from walking. It was probably affecting the joint or something of that nature. And I didn't get out of bed. I was just like, it's fine, my dad's next to her. And then a nurse came about half an hour to an hour later. And then I remember 3 o'clock it happened again. Like, I can't take it anymore. I just heard my dad say, like, what's happening? And she goes, I've given her morphine. You need to give it time to work. And then 4 o'clock came and I heard her screaming, and I just had to get out of my bed. I was like, this doesn't seem normal, because we've seen a lot. And you never think from somebody sitting up, talking to you, that the next day, like, they're going to be in a position where they're going to be drowsy and stuff. You still think, I know you're near end of life. I had to accept that. But at the same time, I thought you still had months. I was hoping she'll stay to my 40th birthday coming up April. And yeah, I just went into her room and she was just like exhausted and just sitting there and go. And then she'd look straight at me, but it was just like a glass-eyed look, like just looking at me, etc. So I was sitting there and I was like, Mum, don't worry, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's okay. I'm still thinking it's pretty routine. She's going to get over this bump. And my dad was like, go bed. Like, you don't need to be here. I'm here. He's, again, trying to be that strong man. I've got everything in control. I went, no, I'll just wait till it's okay. And so sitting down, 6 o'clock come, and then she's nearly falling asleep. And you think, oh, she's resting. I can fall asleep. And then 10 o'clock, I wake up. And I have this conversation where it's like, Sean, you need to know something. And I was like, yeah, what's the matter? And it was just like, the nurse had a little chat with us. And I was like, okay. And they said, we're really sorry, but you've literally got just days left. And I was like, what? Yeah, you've literally got days left now. That's it. And I was like, okay. Just got out of bed, brushed my teeth and stuff, and went into my mum's room. Just gave her a little hand massage, and she's just like laying there, a bit drowsy actually. The eyes got like bluey colour sort of thing, and what I noticed, mum's jaw was hanging down a little bit, so she didn't even have the strength. So I took this little pipette just to get some vitamin C tablets, sort of the like Broca sort of. And then all of a sudden she closed her mouth. I was like, oh, energy. She needs energy. Like, still trying to fix it. Still thinking she's going to be fine. It was a very tough, long Sunday. And I had to make all the phone calls to mum's brothers and sisters. They appeared and they tried to massage her and stuff. And then, yeah. She was waiting for her twin brothers. She's got brothers who are twins. And she used to take them to school. And she used to always have their favourite sweets and stuff. And she was calling for them. She goes, where's twins? Twins haven't come. And then one of my twin uncles walked in and he's like, they're from Birmingham. And they're like, what's this? How you doing? I'm here now. I'm here. And it was just something so beautiful to see the way he grabbed her hand and he was kissing her on her head. And goes, I'm here now. You don't worry, sis. You don't worry. I'm here. And it was weird because my mum couldn't fully open her eyes, but she was smiling. And I don't know if you've ever seen anyone who's gone through cancer where there's no fat left. There's nothing left. Nothing. It's just skin on bones. But you could still see the soul out of my mum smiling. Going, and he goes, do you remember you used to take us to school? And she was just like, and you could just still see the beauty out of it. The pureness. Like, you've been stripped of everything. Your beauty, your health, everything. She still found a will to smile when her brother came. And he left the room to take a phone call. And when he walked back in, she goes, where did you go? Like, it was just that much happiness seeing. It was like she was almost waiting for him. And then the other twin was on FaceTime, because unfortunately he couldn't make it. And she was like smiling. And yeah, that was the last sort of time that we saw my mum sort of conscious. And the next morning we could hear mum, and I woke up 5 o'clock in the morning, sat with her, held her hand, "Mum, you're going to be fine." You can hear her murmuring. And then the nurse goes, "All I can do is just up the morphine until," and I didn't really know exactly what she meant, but what she was trying to say is, we just up the morphine to make her comfortable, making sure she's not in pain until she takes her last breath. But it was very emotional seeing skin on bones, and you can see every breath that she's taking in and out. And yeah, it was 10 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock came and I just couldn't sit there anymore. I just kissed her on the forehead. "I love you, Mum. I'm going to be back in a bit." I went to the gym. And just as I'm leaving the gym, I was going to go right towards Stratford, and I get a phone call, "Come home right now." Turn left, 8 minutes, bang, outside. There was an ambulance outside. I walked in and they were putting Mum on the floor, and he was doing a pulse. And everyone was asking, "What's happening? What's happening? What's going on?" But in my head, mentally, I already know that's it. We are where we are. And they said, yeah, when they took her pulse, they got, "Look, she got a faint pulse, but the body always has this electric pulse through but she's gone." And then everybody just started bursting out crying, and just, big loud crying, "What's happened?" But I was very much in control of myself, because I just looked and I went, "It's been a beautiful journey. It's been a beautiful ride. I love you." And that's not my mum there no more. My mum's here. My mum's in a spirit form now. That's a vehicle that she was in. That's how I interpreted it. And a good friend of mine, James, I've been speaking to him for this whole journey because he lost his mum as well. And so, we've spoken very closely. And I did message him. I said, "I think Mum's going." And we kind of made this plan that he said, "Go and get some plaster and make a mold of a hand holding your hand." And I ordered it like in the morning, but unfortunately it happened there. So the only thing I could think of when I saw my mum on the floor was, first of all, they said, "Put her back on the bed." And so we lifted Mum, put her on the bed. And I just left, and everyone started calling me like, "Where are you?" But I went to Hobbycraft to get the bandages that would turn into a cast. And you just reminded me, actually, because I've got the cast at home. But I held her hand and I was just and everyone was looking at me weirdly. And I was like, I don't really care how weirdly everyone looks at me. This is a memory. This is my trophy. So when we talk about trophy and awards, when that's full of resin and it's done properly, because I want to take it to a proper shop, I don't want to have it go at myself, because I don't know if it's going to turn out right or not. But even when I was moving, because it was turning hard, it felt like she was squeezing my hand. And I was just like, my mum was there, and I took it, and then there was some left over, and Jaden did a little bit of it, and he goes, "Can I have a go?" And it was like a real show of strength in front of, my family and next generations as well, where they go, "He's really composed, he understood." And I've said, look, I've been present since 2+ years Mum's been diagnosed. I've spent every single day like it's been my last day. I made it like a movie. We went holiday to Crete. I vlogged it. She wanted to sing a song. We recorded it. She wanted to make a video for the song. I recorded that. That's what everyone has on their playlist now, because we've left their memories. She wanted to go anywhere, any celebration, any silly celebration. I'd make it into the biggest thing, because I'm like, we've got to make up for the next foreseeable future. Like, I want all of these memories with you. And I went to every consultation. "Sean, can you come with me?" "Mum, what time?" 2 o'clock Monday. That's freedom, man. That's what freedom gets you, to be there for your mum when she's at her lowest and worst point. Not knowing what that doctor, that professor's going to be telling you every time. And that's resilience, going in and going, "Oh, the cancer's grown. The cancer spread. The cancer's gone into the bladder. Now what? What do we do now? How do we do this? Okay, Mum, I'm going to make you better. Let's go to Germany. Oh, we're going to meet Professor Vogel, who's going to go through another vein and going to go through a catheter, going in strain directly, like on a journey, like having to go out to go and get food, and your mum comes out a bit like a zombie and going, "Come here, give me a hug and kiss me," and like, "Thank you so much." And deep down you're thinking, I've given her a little bit of hope and belief that she's going to make it. And then she sit down and go, "I wish I could have been a better mum to you." And I'm like, "Mum, you were the perfect mum." Like all of that stuff. Just sitting down with her, hearing all of these things, like, there's nothing more I could have done. I just did the best I could. And even on her funeral, we did horses and carts. We had 6 Bentleys. We had over 300 people. We had 12 doves that we let go. It's just like when people came to that, my son Jaden played the piano. Yeah, like every move I make. And he twisted it into another song. My daughter sang that. Everyone was like, is that your daughter singing? My other boy sang, and then after came up to do another speech that he didn't even script. It was just the most funniest thing that everyone looked at, and I did a 40-minute speech holding the whole thing together. I still knew up until that day I had to keep the show going because everyone was breaking down. They're looking up at me, and I was like, I'm going to represent. Because my mom is here watching me and going, Sean, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure everyone eats, make sure everyone... I was still listening to my mum. I could still hear her because your parent will never leave you. She made that much of an impact and imprint in me that when I need to make a decision now, I'll hear her. But, you know, like, that's part of life. It's been cut a bit short. You know, I'm going to be 40 next year and I've still got a bit to go in life, if God willing. But there's going to be a lot of birthdays, a lot of celebrations, a lot of graduations, a lot more wins that you wish that she was here physically. You know, and you've heard me. I think I gave you the news first. Like, this is what's happened, and you're like, how you feeling? What's going on? But it's been a bit of an emotional ride. But I think I've also been grieving throughout this last 2 years. Grieving, another bad result. The time's getting less. Whereas other people will just mask it to make themselves feel better and say, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. She'll be okay. She'll get better. And then when it happens, it's like a bomb blast for them. And they might go, I never saw her for the last 3 months. Or I only came to see her a day before that happened. What was I doing the last 3 months? What was so important in my life? But me, I was there every day, every moment, every time I could be there. Which that feeling of regret takes 50-60% of any guilt away, or any part of you going, what if, or how could I was very selfish in terms of I took every bit of my mom that I could. Because I loved her that much and I just wanted to be part of her everything. Like, she was the most closest thing ever to me. But I can sit here and openly talk about it without breaking down because I don't feel that level of emotion that I need to break down. I just feel in a position where I was just so lucky to experience her in my life, in my journey. That what she gave to me, what she poured into me, the value she gave into me, the value she, never mind me, into my kids' next generation. That was a woman to be celebrated, you know? Like, what a woman. Had no degree, never done a business, but so successful in life. That's what I look up to.
And that is who Sean is. That is who you are. You've just explained it in those last couple of sentences. Like you say, the properties and the awards and the nominations and the shortlists and everything else, people look at that and they'll go, fucking hell, he's done really well. But what they don't often see is the selfless acts. Being there for 2.5 years, not giving up. I mean, I know the stuff that you've done, going like the flights or the train journeys to Germany and other places that you've been, when most kids, parents, partners wouldn't do what you've done, and then they would be left with, like you say, the guilt and what ifs. So that's where you are different, and that's what I want people to know about you. It's not a case of, I want you to break down and cry, because I know that you're way past that point, but that's the real you. It's those values that have been installed from your mum, and that's why we're doing this podcast. Is, yes, it's for you, but it's also to bring you obviously in alignment with that, because I know that it's in you. I don't even care if it goes up to my YouTube. It's for you to, like you, I just want people to get to know the real you. Mm-hmm. So if there's anything you want to explain, like if I ask you a question, let's actually ask one on here. If I ask you that way, I think you're going to give me a different answer. Did you feel like you had to prove yourself to your dad growing up?
100%. 100%. He invested so much time and energy to a certain age, and then he became this very strong, disciplined guy that I had to listen to. So I remember when I used to be at home, he used to can't wait because my middle name's Sonny, and he's like, "Where's my Sonny boy?" And then he'll pick me up and put me on the stool, and then grab my hair, grab my face, and used to curl my hair and give me lovely little kisses. I was his little boy. And then I remember this one time when I was 9 or 10, he went to India for a couple of months, and he just came back as a very strict guy. Right, you need to do this, do this. And I was like, where's the nice guy gone? And maybe at the same time, my little brother was born as well. So Sanjay came around about the same time. And it was just me trying, he was always like, do this, fix that lock, fix that switch. Like, it was always directive. And it was like, because of that love, it made me want to do it for him. So had it always been strict, maybe I would have had this sort of resentment. But it was always like, no, he loves me so much. I know how much he loves me. I better impress him. I better do it because my dad's asked me to do it. And it was never this thing that I can't do it. And it was never from fear, because my dad never once hit me, never once slapped me, never once. He'd give you this look that you just want to put your eyes down to go, like, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have done that, or disappointment. The silence would kill you with him. But
how did that make you feel?
The silence was stronger than any beating could have given me any impact. A beating can make you lose respect for a person. He knew the limit. He'll ask you an open-ended question that you couldn't answer, and he knew it was leading you down to a dead end. Why did you do that? And just look away, and you just keep questioning yourself. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I let him down. Oh my God, he's so... And then he'll walk away. He kind of almost taught me a different level of respect in terms of, if me and him ever got into an argument, never let it escalate and just walk away. And that's why me and my dad has never got into an argument or physical at all, ever.
Take me back to when Sean, this high, was getting spoken to like that and made to feel that way. What's the one thing that you'd say to your dad now?
Thank you. And I really, really love you for that. Because it was his way, and the only way he knew how to show me love, because he goes, you're going to have so many trial and tribulations in the future, and I'd rather teach you now at this young, fragile age about what's coming and how resilient you got to be, that the world is not going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to rip you apart. And the rooms you're walking into today, he almost forecasted that. I know you're capable of that, and I've got to get you ready and strong enough for that. So thank you, Dad. Like, the best dad I could ever ask for. My real hero, my rock, and my everything. I could be saying the total opposite, but I know what results he's given me. My results are from my parents. It's from them lessons. He could have took the easy route and said, that's alright, just let it pass, let it go. He's a kid, but it wouldn't have got me these results.
Not just basing it on results, this, like what you're feeling now. Because the way you described your mum to the way you described your dad is different. What is it? What's that inside you that's... You said amazing things about both, but what's that thing inside you that's... there's like this little thing inside you. I can almost see it when you're describing the dad.
I think man to man you have a lot of competition. It can be seen to be a bit weird, maybe even for him, if when I'm doing so well. but he's always been in my corner. But he's the guy who created me and created this, you know. It's almost like a thing of survival. Like, you always want your offspring to do better than you to survive, and it's evolution as well. You got to be bigger, better, stronger, and he did such an amazing job at that. He loved my mum so much. I saw the loving side, I saw the strict side, but he just had that right balance of never abusive, but always knew how to keep the house ship shape. He knew the relationship with my mum was so important. He used to say, Germ, make sure the kids are done this time and that time, make sure this, that, other. And my mum would go, Sean, make sure this is done, make sure that's done. You know your dad's coming, make sure you're down for 6 o'clock because your dad's coming. She'd instill that belief that he was the most important thing out of everything because he was the provider. And then when he came, it was like the respect level was just totally different level with him. But the relationship he had with my mum created that. Had he been arguing with her and competition with her, she'd be so bitter and angry about him that we would have heard that we had no respect for him.
Do you wish he showed you more love?
I always wish that he shows me more love. But you can't expect things of people who just don't have that in their vocabulary. I understand he doesn't have that inside him. He was always the youngest out of 3 brothers. He always got the scraps out of his brothers. It was always the older one would put that under his name. The middle one, I would put that under, I'll give you whatever you're... Like, he was always made to feel that he got hard done by.
So I agree with what you're explaining, but like what you said at the beginning, your dad did show love. But there's this, I've only recently been able to show that. And I've made that very clear on podcasts I've done before. To my own kids and a partner. I've never been able to show that before. And your dad was the same. And then switched. It's like a trigger. So I believe everyone can. It's knowing how to then, like you say, either drop the ego. In love, I don't necessarily think it's ego. It's going back into a place where you accept who you are, because there's a constant battle. And that's through, again, I don't know everything that's gone on with your dad, but obviously we've spoken about this in person as well. It's accepting who you are, what you've got, and is it where you want to be. And he was definitely the provider, from what you said. And he did show you love. And showing you love by providing, definitely one way, but putting his arm around you when needed. Obviously, that was what your mum done. But did your dad do that enough?
I'll tell you something. Normally, I'll tell my dad about a project and he'll be like, I don't want to know. I've had enough. Like, of the investment game, do what you feel is right. Like, and it makes me feel like, oh, he's not listening to me. He doesn't care about what I'm doing, or because that's the sort of relationship I have. Since my mum's passed, in these last month and a half, he's started to listen, and that shows me that he does know what's going on. And he knows that mum would always be the one who would listen, and even though she didn't understand, she goes, "Do you think that's good, Sean?" And I was like, "Yeah, mum, because of this. I think you should go for it. I know you can do it." But now weirdly, he never heard them conversations, but they know it. They're husband and wife. They know what they talk about. But now I say, Dad, like, this happened, that happened, that happened. He goes, you might get it. You might have a lucky spot on that one. You never know where it's going to... I've never heard him speak so positive. And it's just so weird because it's like, did he just say that? But he knows mum's not there. And he knows that was my question.
But it circles back to what you said about it being the right person in the corner with your mum and your dad. They had a bond, and that worked for you and your family unit at home. And maybe him not putting his arm around you at that moment in time was right for you. The reason I asked you that is, did you require that at that particular moment in time? Because some people do, some people don't. It affects some in others.
In my teenage years, I've got pictures with him hugging me and giving me a big kiss as well. And I'm like, I didn't really remember that, but he did do that, like on important special days. It's just for him, it was just a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
I believe he didn't want me to be weak. And he always says, so when my mum passed and I nearly broke down, he goes, no, not you, not you. He goes, I can't handle it when you like that. Because I've always taught you to be the strongest.
That's a huge amount of pressure to carry. And I remember one thing you told me when you spoke on stage. How does that make you feel?
Now or in the past?
Up to you. It's your floor.
So in the past, I used to be terrified. I couldn't even get my name out properly without trembling. So I remember going to, just after COVID, a friend of mine took me to the Homegrown Centre. I was like, wow, in a private members club, never been into one of these before. On the background, Sean, you're a successful landlord. You've reached a really good pinnacle in your life and you've got so much money and this, that, other. And I was like, yeah, on this basis, I'm very good. Put me in a room with about 20 people. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say? Your mind goes blank, you're starting to tremble, you're getting more and more hyperventilation, like in terms of when it's coming your turn. You're like, the heart's beating, you're like, hi, I'm Sean, I'm a landlord, yeah, thanks. And it was like, and he looked at me and said his piece, and it was like, in your head, I was like, I should have said this, I should have said that, I should have said this. And then after the event was over, and he goes, oh, you really crapped yourself, didn't you? And you're like, oh, shit. I really messed up. And he goes, you really undersold yourself. You really, really undersold yourself. You're so much more than just a landlord. You do this. Why didn't you say it? Just was terrified, the fear of speaking in front of people. But now I'm in a totally different realm. Like my mum's funeral, 300 people, took it in my stride so easily, looking up while speaking and talking. Because when you know what you're talking about, you're valued, you've got something to say. But that time, I didn't think I had something valuable to say. I didn't feel that nobody wanted to listen and them sort of things. And to be honest, I just thought it rooted down to the bullying of in the classroom. When I'm trying to put my hand out and I asked a question, shut up, why did you say that? It's that kind of, whenever I've been in front of people, it's like a way to bully you. Or if I did something in a play, it's like, it was rubbish. It was like, don't say anything, don't do anything. It was that sort of energy, I think, impacted my public speaking.
Well, obviously, as everyone can see on your socials, you do it quite a lot now. And we'll go on to the podcast in a minute. But yeah, I was referring obviously to when you said your dad, said something to you and commented on it, and the way you handled it, which is great. And now it's obviously you're speaking in front of hundreds and hundreds of people quite often. Tell me more about your podcast, which is something that I don't think is spoken about enough.
So my podcast is called Take a Seat. I didn't know what really, I thought a podcast went hand in hand into your brand and everything. I just thought, I'm going to go on and tell my story, how I went from 0 to 10 mil, my journey. And then I realized, hey, hang on, how many times can I tell this story? And what else am I going to talk about? And so I was like, hey, I need guests. Like, I need to talk to people who've done similar things. And then I realized, what is my podcast about? Well, it's about transformation and it's about your mindset. And it's only until you listen to somebody else who's been in a similar position to you and how they've made it until you find that route yourself. Because sometimes you go, nah, there's no other way. Like, I remember myself, I know everything about property. I know everything about property. No one can teach me nothing about property. I've got over 10 properties. And then there was this guy on YouTube. I won't say his name, but then he was doing actually a commercial to residential buying banks. So he ain't going to tell me nothing. And then I looked at it and he showed me about PD.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and how to convert a bank and how to make it. And I was like, oh my God, He's just made like 10, 14 units out of this. He's just clocked the system. I didn't know nothing about this. And I just went to myself, wow, you're not being coachable. You don't know everything about property. And that was like, about 6 years ago, I think. And that's when I was like, no, you need to get into rooms to listen to other people. And so just taking that on board is sometimes it's not a new strategy or new property people need. It's just a new way of thinking. Because your thoughts and beliefs come from your childhood about what your parents have taught you, or your mum has taught you, or your uncle has taught you. And it's just like learned behavior. So if you think the government's wrong and you think I need to make it because I need to shot drugs, and you've seen your elders do that, then you're not going to believe that you're doing nothing wrong. You just think everyone is against you, everyone's after you, when all you're just trying to do is just hustle. So there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, but it's a learned behavior. It's only when you start educating yourself and saying, hang on, shifting drugs kills people. You're earning money that you're not paying tax on, so you're not contributing to society. This is not actually correct, what you've been taught. All you need to do is either get yourself an apprenticeship, some sort of education, or get into a proper job. Start excelling in that. Start saving money, which you might not have been taught to do, and say, put something away for a rainy day. And all of a sudden, you see life differently and going, hey, hang on. Life isn't so bad. Why did I think it was? But it's only when you're prepared to listen to somebody who goes, that's what you need to do. Why don't you try it? And then see, and then you start looking at life positively and going, hang on. The government did sort of top up my payments or helped my partner when she's had a baby and give us some tax benefits. Actually, they're not against us. Maybe I'm working in our local shop and everyone's saying hello to me now because they're going, oh, well done. You got yourself a job. Well done. Keep it up, son. Like, proud of you. Maybe you've never felt that before. Maybe you then go, well, I want to be a supervisor now because people think I'm valued here. Like, it just takes that one little switch, to happen for that sort of change to happen. I don't know what led on to that, sorry.
No, that's all right, you keep going.
But like, that's all it creates for a mind shift change. So if I'm, for example, yesterday, I was interviewing somebody from a pizza company, he's a CEO, but he started off as a waiter who failed all his GCSEs. Now he's a multi-millionaire. How many people fail their GCSEs and think they're worth nothing? There's quite a few out there who just give up. And then they go and get a job like he did and just stay there. This guy didn't just stay there. He goes, no, I'm going to go and get myself an education, became a lawyer and worked for Accenture, one of the biggest law firms, and then had enough money to start his own business to scale it to a multi-millionaire. It was just where his fortune was, but he believed he could do it. He didn't care about if nobody else could believe he could do it. He said, when you're an entrepreneur, hardly no one will believe in you. Everybody will be there at the start. Then your friends will drop off. Then your brothers and sisters will drop off. Then your parents will say, that's a bad idea. You should just go and get yourself a job in security. And then there will be a point, even your partner will be like, I don't think this was for you. Just give up. You'll be the last person standing. But if you believe in it enough and ride through that bit, you could potentially be the next Richard Branson or something.
If you've got enough pain, you'll go through it. Pretty much is what you're saying.
Yeah, but basically, and
if you can withstand that amount of pain.
And not everybody will be able to hear my message because they go, your dad had a shop. That was still something.
No, that's not what you're saying. I don't hear that.
But some people may look at me and go, your dad had a shop, that's why you made it. But
what you've just explained, though, is the definition of what everyone that I know, and I would say everyone that you know, is the route that they've gone down. No, I wasn't employed. Actually, I was. I started at McDonald's, same as you. Yeah. But I didn't work for someone, and then it was exactly the same journey. You've got to go through pain in order to get the outcome that you claim to want. It's never going to be easy, and that it starts with you at the core of everything. And if you can't withstand that, it's not going to happen. But you will lose people along the way.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Those people that you thought were friends, they're not. Family, you're going to lose them as well. But you've got to stay, from my experience, sort of laser focused. And then that's when it will all start to fall into place, and then people will come back. And you will be said to be delusional. But if it's meant to be, then it will be.
And there will be a lot of people coming back, a lot of people. And you just got to have your wits about you and be smart enough to know who you want to let back in as well.
Is there anything that you would do differently with your brand now if you had to start again, or portfolio, to when you first started it?
I can't really have any regrets. Everything that the man I am today is with every single experience. You know, I bought correctly under market. I bought in a recession where nobody else was prepared to do. I undercut every single cost being a builder at a third of the price. I got stuff rented even while I was doing building work on the outside, and they still paid me rent. I've gone into commercial properties, mixed use, flats, in freeholds. I've created companies. Yeah, I bought in my personal name, but that was having the wrong team accountant at the start and then changing teams. You know, I believe a lot in what's that word? When you don't let somebody down.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
So I'm very loyal. I'm a very loyal person. Loyalty means a lot to me, because when somebody helps you get a loan and he gets you 10 loans, it's like, you've made me, because without you, I wouldn't have got the loans. But is that true? Or would I have got another broker who would have got me the loans also? But I'm still very loyal. So sometimes you do outgrow people, and that's the only thing that some of the teams, you just don't want to say to your broker, like, really, really sorry, but I'm using a new broker who's doing this for me, you know. And it's only until you come across a problem that he can't do, which gives you that outlet. Mm-hmm. Or you're with an accountant who says, just keep buying in your personal name. You're going to incur so many charges going through a business account. You get charged for taking money out, cash out. You get charged for this. And then you end up buying £3 million worth of portfolio in your personal name. And you're going, shit, now I've been hit with Section 24 and interest. But then he couldn't have predicted that. But, you know, maybe I could have chose a different accountant quicker. Now my new accountant is helping me incorporate some of that, you know, running certain structures for 4 years. But everything happens at the right time. Has it been really that detriment? Maybe a little bit extra tax, but at the same time, it kept me laser focused on what I was doing best, which was buying. When you've got problems of paying too much tax, it's a good problem. Yeah. It means you're making money as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I don't regret any of the process, but any bits that I do sort of think I did quicker, it only helps me teach other people quicker and go, look, just what's your accountant saying? What's your solicitor saying? What's your broker doing? Change them. I've gone through a new broker now. I've just changed my insurance guy as well. I went, can you tell him to give me a new quote? Your guy. He goes, yeah, I want to introduce you to this new guy. He gave me a quote. I used my existing guy. He beat him by 50 quid. I went, all right, cool, I'm taking the new one out. The next one's going, bro, what's happening? Are we taking this policy out? I'm just leaving it there. I don't even need to reply to you. You're providing a service. I've asked you for a quote. You've put it through your machine. I shouldn't feel any guilt the fact that I've taken it out or not, or I don't even need to give you a reason. You should automatically know that you needed insurance and you never took it out from me. Maybe they became complacent. Maybe their admin fees became too much. But it's okay, because this is business. This ain't personal. This is a business. And so that's the thing I need to keep a little bit separate, that my relationships, how I am personally with you is not how I am in business. I'm very shrewd in business. I can be horrible to work in business with, because my mind is set what I want, and I want to get that. And if I can't get it through you, I'll go to another to get it the way I want. Or I'll go through 5 different things or people and go, right, it is roughly at this amount. That's fair enough. I'll go with the one that I have the best relationship with. And that's how I want my business to work. And for me, it works. For me, I get my results. And that's what helps me carry on growing in my business. It might not be for everyone, but personally, I'm not that guy. If I say I'm going to pick you up at 2:00 in the morning, I'm going to be there, whether sunshine, roses, rain, whatever, snow. I'll be there because I'm your mate, and I'll be there. Like, that's something completely different. So that's the only thing I've sort of just learned on my journey about making mistakes or not. It's okay to leave people in a professional setting. No one owns you, no one holds you.
How would you start if you had to start again? I think a lot of people are asking this at the moment, especially with the current people who are in charge of the country, Labour, and everything that's been put in the way. I mean, I'd reel a whole list off, but I'd be here forever. And we are essentially a cashless society, and our identity is being taken away from us even quicker. We've got AI coming in. Well, I say coming in, it's here to stay, and it's coming in fast. So with everything that I've mentioned, if you had to start again, what would you do?
So for me, I'm not the smartest tool in the box sort of thing. So for me, it wouldn't be much different to how I already done it. I'd go and get 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs. I'll just be bulletproof. Don't care. I need to get up and go and bust my ass and get money, because it's all what's coming in that top end. Doesn't matter. I don't care what it is, even if I have to go to college and do a plumbing course, but I know my money's got to be, you know, coming in, and it's with a skill or something of that nature. So if I would be a boiler or electric man, I want to go and get one of them sort of something, a job like that, you know, because I know that I can work for a company, but I also got a skill. And if AI, social media, all of this coming into fruition, then I can't let that attack me. I got to use it to help me. So if I'm on social media and go, I'm the plumbing guy, and watch me fix this fix, I know half the people are not going to know how to do it, but they've seen me do it and they go, all right, call him up and he'll do it. So I'm going to have to get my money in some way or another. And saying any emergencies, I can come. And I know that's a higher value, because you've got an emergency, you've got a leak right now, you need to stop it happening. Show yourself to be that nice, relatable guy, and you'll come out and do that emergency fix, 80 quid. Get 2 of them at night, it's 160 quid. In 10 days is what, £1,600. That's from a side hustle, just being an emergency guy. Money is endless, is limitless. Like, you can earn as much money as you want if you've got the drive to go and get it. So that would be my pure focus. I wouldn't probably do McDonald's again, because it's pointless. It's like watching paint dry. But I'd go and learn a skill that would earn me money, and then go to networking like arenas like I am now, and going, hi guys, I'm a plumber, I can fit a boiler up for you, I'll give you mates rent, I'll give you the extra 20% if you're a landlord. Because I know landlords sit together, they go for meals together. I know my dad sits with his friends and they all share contact. So by giving him 20% off, you've ended up getting 5 more jobs.
So let's say that I mean, I know that you're looking at like the plumber, for example, but let's say that, I would say the average, there's only 2 figures that people have ever told me, really. It's 5 grand and 10 grand that they want to get. They're the magic numbers a month. And then with everything else that's going on, it'd be good to get your opinion on that, with the AI and Labour and identity and all of this stuff. What job or jobs would you do to help that person, 1, increase income, 2, make them sort of bulletproof, and then to help them get invested into property?
So first of all, it's not about the 5 grand or the 10 grand, Lewis, because the guy who's earning 2 grand is earning more than the guy who's earning 5 grand.
Yeah, no, just to clear that up, most people think they need 5 grand
No.
and 10 grand.
Yes.
Because I'm sure you've had it.
Yeah,
I need
of
5
course.
grand a month. The magic numbers that people throw out,
Yeah.
I need that 5 or 10 grand a month.
So the guy who's earning 5 grand and spending 5 grand is earning nothing, essentially. And the guy who's earning 2 grand and only spending £500 but saving £1,500 is earning more. So that's one lesson people at home have got to take away, that it's not just about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. Because it's not for Gucci, Prada, holidays, it's for your future, a pot called your future. That's essentially the most important bit. And here's the thing, sometimes when you're working more, you end up spending less because you're at work. You wear uniform, you don't have to spend as much on clothing. Like, who's telling you that you need to be walking around with Gucci, Prada and having this image of I'm looking more I'm looking better than you. Who's telling you that you're going to be respected more rather than driving a £500 car? You're going to be respected more by spending £2,000 on car finance because you've got a Lamborghini badge on there or something.
No, but it's important for people to hear that sometimes when you're in the thick of it and your brain is literally so foggy, you can't take that moment to pause. You can reach out and you can, like you say, you can feed off the scraps, but it isn't going to get you out of that constant shit. I don't know where I'm going. What am I going to do? But when you reach out to either like people like me or you who have been there, you can go, actually, it's a lot more simple than you think. You can just go and do that. I don't work in that. So that was, again, an opportunity that I see and went, how do I not become homeless again? And took it. I was like, well, that, like you, that's when I went, I'm buying that company because I'm not being homeless again. I've been homeless twice now. It's never going out of business.
What does being homeless mean?
I was on the street. Me and my mum. And then through the ill health, through the epilepsy, and because I literally worked myself into the ground in 2017, just at the back end of 2016, 2017, it was me and my kids and my ex. That happened again. I completely burnt out. Like, nothing left.
How do you get out of being homeless?
Mindset. It's a mindset shift. Complete mindset shift. We had to go down to council. I lost everything. House, car, everything. You name it. Literally had the clothes on my back. And the kids. Well, Billy, my oldest. And I was like, how do I not allow that to happen again? That's never going out of business. Don't have any money, but I'm going to make it work. Because I know how much money I was bringing in. So I'm going to walk back in there. And I'm going to ask to buy it. That's what I've done. I got him to loan me the money. And I implemented a bit of technology and I paid him back. And I brought my uncle back in. Or I brought him in, and then, I grew the company and quadrupled its turnover and the profit, employed staff in the first year, and then made myself redundant and invested in property by 2020, which is now, like you, created something that I wanted, which was financial security. Not necessarily the freedom part, but my thing was security, which I never had, which was from a kid up until that point there. Which is what I think most people want. They're searching for freedom. Start with security first. I think that's the most important thing. As you know, mate, I've already been sectioned before. And people didn't really care about me. So I had nothing to lose at that point. I'd lost everything. And when you've got nothing, when you truly have nothing to lose, and this is this is what I do. I tell people, when you've got nothing to lose, that's when you become dangerous. These are the people I help. And if you've got that drive, it doesn't matter what is in your way, you're going to finish it. And I worked for 9 months and I quadrupled that business. And it had been going 40 years. To me, it was simple. A simple business model. It's the second oldest industry in the UK. And there's me. Never run a business in my life. It was that, like you, switch. Something had to change. And I made it happen. Like you. No one had ever taught me anything about business. But I had to make it happen. Because if I didn't, I'd have just been stuck in that constant cycle. My family are very much, you can rely on the government. They'll pay you, they'll get you out of trouble. I didn't. And I never will.
What lit up that fight in you to say, I don't want that?
Is in to go and finish. Or
to go and get out of this rather than go deeper into
it. Like you, I've always wanted more. I've always wanted to own something and be in control of myself. Not have someone else tell me what I can do, when I can do it, and dictate my time, security and freedom. And that was clear. A lot of it was to do with my health, because obviously I'm at risk of SUDEP, which is sudden unexplained death in epilepsy. So it was future-proofing that for me and the kids. And then the security part from the properties, I looked at that as, right, it's a nest egg. That's never going anywhere. Business I don't really know, that could be sold at any point and it's now profitable. But I know that houses are never going anywhere. But the part that lit me up was, I got kids. That completely changed me. But again, I say recently, the last 3 years, been a real dad to them. Showing what I would class, I'll say that again, what I would class being present, showing emotion, allowing them to show emotion, instead of head buried in a phone all the time. I would always turn up to things, but not actually being there, head always in something else. And I'm sure that you might be able to resonate with that when you was in the thick of things. And that is what kind of lit it up. Is that I've got some people that are reliant upon me. I've got to take responsibility. And that was it. And I don't think there's enough people that do. There was definitely a part of me trying to prove myself to someone, my dad, that I was never going to get that approval. And it takes a big person to realise that that's when you've got something in you, that drive, that ambition, it can be quite good, but in the wrong hands and used in the wrong way, really dangerous. And I'll explain what I mean by that. I channeled it so if you've got an addictive personality, that's what I'm talking about. And I had. So as you know, I've obviously gone through the bad side of things with the drugs and everything else. But I then channeled that because I didn't get the reaction from him, from the addiction side, which I was taught. Then I went on the good side. I've just bought a company. Surely that's what I'm going to get a reaction from? No. Property? No. So that's another reason. But again, the reasons are, I'm now future-proofed. Because I don't work in it, but I get paid. But I worked in it for 10 years, which a lot of people didn't see. A bit like you. They don't see the graft that you put in. They don't see the skill that you had to learn for years in order to become this millionaire. So, yeah, it's very similar. And that's when you was explaining about your friends in business and going through that pain. I don't know anyone else, and I've got 5 people coming tomorrow. Every single person has had that same journey. Like when you said about me being creative, I've been in some situations, like you were saying in the school days, there was no choice. There's no choice but to be creative. An example, I've been put into crack dens, and the only way of getting out of that crack den is fight your way out. And when you're exposed to certain things, your mind goes to, right, there's only one way out of this, your back's against the wall. And then you apply that to the business world, you'll be fine. I was absolutely fine. So I look at this and I go, right, what do I need? Who do I need? They're better than me. Money. If I don't have any money for marketing, can I make a deal? Can I do a deal with someone in order to get the customers? Where are the customers? It's not complicated. You've got to simplify things. But at the core, it's you. People buy from people. It's always been the same. I'm not reinventing the wheel with anything I do. I just simplify everything. I pause and go, how can I get the best outcome and deliver the best service as efficiently as possible? And that's what I do. Whether it's in tech, debt recovery, buying a business, or buying a house. Everything that's overcomplicated by the social media gurus, I bring it back down to earth and go, that's what I'll do.
What are you buying now?
For me personally,
Like in the properties.
yeah, I've got another short leases. Yeah, short lease. That's my thing. Short lease, I don't touch anything else. Short leases, obviously since the one you've got, we've got another two. Since the one you see.
And how's that one going?
One that you see, yes, done. It's already rented. Because it obviously had its hiccups, didn't it, with the builders, but yeah, that's all rented, that's fine. The other ones, one was 160, that's valued at 280, that's an absolute corker. Yeah. And then another one was 90 grand and valued at 170. So not as good, but still. But don't forget, you've seen the data that we've got. Everything I do is data driven. I'm not making emotional, like you, I'm not making an emotional decision. I'm very much, you've got a problem here, I can solve it. I'll help anyone. But I know these people have got a problem, but it's backed by the data I've got in front of me. It could be accessible. I don't sell the information because it's part of my plan, my family's plan, and where we're going. Slow, steady, win the race. And I get paid from business, property. If people need help getting into it, that's great. There's much better people out there for property education, like yourself. If people want to pay me for that, they've got to pay a lot of money because it's going to distract me from where I'm going. Because I can get paid 10 grand a month from a business that I can buy because I know how to do it. I don't have to think about doing that. I enjoy doing that side of it. I can literally just go, bang, read a balance sheet. With you can pick the phone up and speak to people about the property stuff. So, yeah, it's simple to me. That's what makes me just go, I can help this person, but at the core, it's them. It all comes down to them anyway, regardless of whether it's buying a house, buying a business. My DMs are flooded with lacking in direction, mostly. And I try and steer them away from doing anything until they've figured out what's actually, like you just said, is your income right? Because most of the time with what I find is once their income is straight, they go, actually, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. And then when they've got a little bit of disposable income, they can actually have a go at a few different things and figure it out. But until such time, most people are just clutching at straws. With people now, they don't have the ability to pay with things like cash, and they're losing, as you know, parts of their identity, but without even realising it. Or they might realise it, but they are, and especially with AI, they are losing that control and therefore giving up a lot. And if they don't understand it or want to understand it, it's only a matter of time before they just lose complete control.
And I was born to my mum and dad, like I always say. My dad was a businessman and my mum was somebody who just supported everything that my dad did and said and fed us and loved us. And that's what my reality was. And I knew that I couldn't accept being on benefit, because you're never going to be my son if you're sitting at home on benefits. And the other thing, he goes, you'll be a dustbin cleaner, which is just not a bad job, because I heard they get 40-50 grand or something. But it was a job that was a bit embarrassing from his point of view to say that's what you'll become. You won't have no qualification, no knowledge, no business acumen, so all you'll be good at is chucking a bin into the dustbin machine. And I was like, is that all I'm going to become? And it drove me. So that was my reality. So I didn't know any different. Just like some of these other people who are born into watching other people around them not going through any pain and not going through any hardship and thinking that's normal, and they just don't understand it. unless they're going to go through some sort of education or mentorship. Somebody go, no, that's not right. To get that result, you need to do this. And some people go, what, to do that? I'm not going to do that. Because it's something so alien to them. They're going, I've never seen anyone do that or say that. And you can't be right. It's a feeling of disbelief. And then they go, no. And then they just moan about their own situation because that's what is also learnt behaviour. And it's just so much easier to do that because I'm not going to die. I'm still going to be surviving and they better help me. And I just want to moan for more benefits. And some people even end up getting more drugged up and more drunk because they end up getting more benefits and more support and social workers and therapy, and then end up moaning at the therapist going, they bloody don't know what I'm going in for, and it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Which is part of their control. That is it. I mean, like you say, because of the debt side and the debt recovery business, I've literally seen that firsthand. And then what happens is they can't pay the bills, they can't pay the council tax, they can't pay the mortgage, and then the house goes. Done. I've literally seen it firsthand. So what you're explaining is bang on. It's bang on the money. And it's the control part, and you try and help the people. But unless they want to see that, you can't. I don't know how you get through to them. I didn't know if you could, give your perspective on it, you have, but it's such a dangerous place to be in if you're that person and can't see it. And it's a shame.
Maybe it should be taught something of that nature, have a special topic in school that should be taught that X, Y, Z could happen if this happens. Like part of their what is that, PHARE or something?
PSHE.
PSHE, something like that.
PSHE,
under that sort of topic, that something should be taught to make sure that's mitigated. But a part of the agenda doesn't feel like that's wanted.
Well, of course they don't, because the school's controlled as well. What they can teach with inside schools, at no point were we taught about money. At no point. I mean, my daughter, they've all got an ISA. And they all know about, it's with Vanguard, and they all choose what company to invest in every single month. But they only know that through what I've taught them. If you say, right, what did school teach you? It's the generic, it's maths, English, science, geography, PSHE, all of this, PE. At no point do they learn about money or financial literacy. They don't learn about that stuff because they don't want you to be different. It's a bit different in private school to mainstream.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you this one little thing, Lewis, is the other day I said to my son that I want to buy a Porsche 997. And that was the one that came out between 2006, 2011. And I've just seen it where it's sort of hit a low, and Porsches don't really lose a lot of value because of the prestige of that car, the way it's built, the way it runs, the way it looks. And I said, Jaden, I think you've got about 18 grand in your account. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, maybe I could use that, and then I've got 10 grand on top, and I'll just buy a 997. No, you can't do that. I was like, why? Because basically that car is going to go down in value, and then we're going to lose that money. No, we're not doing that. Because as soon as he knew it was his money, he wanted to really impact and say, what's going to happen with that? I was like, but then I said, but it's appreciating classic. No, it'd be better in the bank because it's more secure that you're going to be getting something from there, and I might need it for my education when I go uni or something like that. And I was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's education he's seen by seeing his father talk about money. That's the byproduct of being on social media and him just actively just listening. But where's that come from? That's come from my father. Where's that come from? That's come from his father, my granddad. You know, it's generational sort of knowledge being passed on that carries on because it's our general language. We talk about money on the dining table. What investment are you doing? How's that going? How much your business turning over? Oh, really? What client did you have the other day? Oh, you're going to pick up a new Mercedes. Which one? What line is it? It's not a show-off thing. It's our lifestyle. It's not a taboo subject. I was sitting with a world-class UFC fighter sitting with him going, we've never spoke about money ever, which is why I don't know nothing about money. I can get a couple of million and I don't know what to do with it or what's happening because it was never allowed to be even spoken about. No one tells you how much money they're earning. You're not even allowed to say, oh, I got a promotion. No one even asked that question. How much are you getting? It's not allowed. It's none of your business. It's got nothing to do with you. But it's like, what's the big secret?
That was the same in my household.
Really?
Exactly the same. Well, I didn't make any money, to be honest, but it was the same. And then if I ever spoke about it,
Wow.
it was exactly the same.
Wow. My dad would say, show me your bank account.
Yeah, and that's I'm actively like you going, that's how much you've got. Do you want to spend it or do you want to leave it there? Because obviously they can invest, as you know, in us, but they just can't withdraw. But I think it's so important that kids as well, they learn, because they've got to learn about investing, what money is, and where they can put it to work. And not only that, they've got to hear you speak about it.
Yeah.
And what works, what doesn't work, what you've lost money on, what you've made money on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how the hell are they going to learn? My work ethic hasn't just come from, obviously having my back against the wall. It's come from working on market stalls and seeing my granddaddy own the greengrocers and being there at 3 o'clock in the morning with him and then going to school and things like that. But that only gets you so far. That can go and get me that job to go and earn a certain amount of money each month, but that's not going to make me what it might get me to the supervisor position. But it doesn't get you to think in a certain way and get creative, like you said. You have to have that mindset to go, right, okay, I'm going to make that decision, which is then going to get me to that place. And that's what you're trying to obviously get these people to think like. But do you feel accepted now that you've accomplished what you've accomplished in your life?
By who?
Anyone. Because from what I know, if I label it with someone, there's going to have a different answer. But do you feel accepted, or is there still something left to prove? Is a better way of answering that.
I feel very, very accepted because I've spoken to business people in Dubai and I've made money in Dubai. I've made money for myself, my next generations. I compulsively get DM'd and people asking me for advice. Bar this podcast, but I get regularly asked to come on podcasts where other people find it challenging to even get onto one podcast. It's just too much coming to me, too many invites, £400-500 tickets. Here you go, Sean, there's one for you complimentary. I now have to be careful which invites I accept now, because I realize my brand is getting to a level that just walking into a room, it provides a whole audience wanting to go and follow that person or follow what they're doing. And I got to be careful that I need to value myself. Because before I was like, oh, I'll grab everything, I'll do it. And now it gets to a situation is, hey, there's a whole sort of audience that follows what I do and where I'm at. So for a free meal, do I really need to be there if there's going to be a whole heap of people who's going to influence? And I actually didn't think it was the right place to be. I just went there for a free sandwich, and then after I was just thinking, oh, I'm never going to buy anything or do this. But there's a whole heap of people watching me and going, you're there, you must be there for a reason. You're successful. If I do that, I might be successful. And I'm leading them into something that I wouldn't do. So of course, I feel like really accepted right now. I feel in a position.
What would you say, if anything, what would you say is something you struggle with?
I struggle with people saying well done to me. So somebody go, oh, it's amazing what you did there. I'm just like...
So you struggle to accept praise?
Yeah, very much so. Because when somebody goes, oh, you did really good there, I just be like, yeah, so did you. You know, I always try to deflect it. Because it feels like I'm being too cocky or too big-headed, and it doesn't feel like it will go anywhere if I go, oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, now what? Sort of, yeah, like, it's like the end of something, if that makes sense. Whereas I'm all about longevity and going, no, I can do it better. I can go higher. I'll do one better, etc.
So with that, I just want to stay on that for a minute. What about if you took a breath and then went, thank you, and actually took it in and accepted it?
Yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Why?
Because it feels like I'm not growing.
And where does that stem from?
I'm not really sure. It just thinks like in life you got to keep moving.
That must be exhausting.
It doesn't feel exhausting to me.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you...
It feels more fun, just keep going. Just feels gone. It feels like the clock keeps ticking. Life keeps going. We still get a year older.
We do.
If
but if you can't accept praise for stuff you've done, and I don't just mean in property, in business, what's it all for?
Maybe for your soul to keep learning, that you're here for a purpose on this world, to learn something you didn't learn previously, to maybe go through something. Maybe I was a really terrible soul before this journey and I had to learn everything I had to learn from this journey. It just feels like when you pass, you don't just die and stop. It carries on going. So everything's just about keep going, keep moving, keep learning. I'm here for something. I don't know what it is. I'm here to learn something, a lesson, to do something, to make a change, maybe to help other souls, you know? So it, for me, it's never like the dot, the end. It feels so boring.
What would you say is your biggest fear?
To be sitting at home doing nothing.
How does that make you feel?
Very bored. Unproductive.
Uncomfortable.
That would make me feel uncomfortable, yeah. It felt like I'll be deteriorating at a different rate. So right now I'm like that. If I was sitting at home doing nothing, I'll be deteriorating so quickly. It would be like, why do I exist? What's the point of this? I'm not contributing, not helping. What's the point of waking up because not doing anything? Like, it's a very uncomfortable place.
Would you say you're happy in your own skin, as in like you can be present with just you, not growing and developing and learning?
But that isn't me though. Part of me and everything that I've ever known is to get to another level or to keep doing something. You know, I remember like even working in Dad's shop, it was like first to take his sandals, then to take his dinner, then to help him fill the shelves, then to price stuff up, then to work at the VAT markups and then price it up, then to get behind the counter to serve. It's like everything keep going. Like, I don't like staying in places too long. I worked in McDonald's, nearly got sacked, but 3 months later I went to supervisor, from supervisor within 8 months to a manager, from a floor manager to shift manager, from shift manager I went part-time but still holding down that full-time sort of responsibility on a part-time, to Barclays being a cashier, then 8 months later coordinator, 4 months. Is always about carrying on. In the background is saving for what? Saving to make the bank balance bigger. But it's big enough to become a deposit into a house, into passive income, everything's just about go. It's like, it's not me to sit down still because it's a very boring place. I don't know if my mind has to work at that level to be comfortable.
It doesn't. There's no right or wrong. But that's why it's called the next level. Because I'm the same. I am the same. And I'm more comfortable, but I'm still very much like you. I have to be thinking or doing, or not necessarily always doing something, I'm happy to just go chill. But I have to be going and progressing and doing something and taking it to that next level. And if I'm not, that's why me and Georgia don't work together in everything we do, because she's like, I'm mum. I go, okay, I'm dad now, but I've stopped being dad, I'm work mode. She's got a lot better at it, but if we come in and we clash, it's not good for relationships. So I'm like, work mode, done. But when you're programmed that way, it's very hard to switch it back off. So that's what I was asking.
In terms of switching off, like, the older I'm getting, the more relaxed I'm also getting.
Yeah.
So you got to realise that part of my job is to be a father.
That's exactly what I was. Yeah.
If I'm going to a parents' evening, or if I'm spending the evening with my son and shut my phone off, that's my job also. So your values have to align with your whole personality, and that's something I've got more comfortable at. Of going, I don't need to be working in an employed job or a self-employed job or a business for me to think that I'm valued or I'm not being successful. If I'm spending an hour explaining to my boy or my girl something, that's just as important as doing something, because that's your next generation who's going to be look after you. And especially in these teenage years that they're in right now, it's so important for them to be learning and absorbing as much as they can from me, because they're becoming adults or adulting, and they need to know, otherwise they won't know. You can't assume that because you're at work and you shut the door, they know what you're doing. They don't.
Absolutely.
You know, and certain things you do see. Like, Jaden, why did you do that? Oh, because... And it's like, hang on, stop. No, because... No. Jaden, stop. No. Jaden, you're not even listening anymore. Yeah, but I got year 6 highest. I don't care what you got. None of these accolades mean anything. If you're not a champion in your house, you're not a champion anyway. You're losing your personality. Okay, just to put his pride down was such a big thing, and that was my youngest, because he aces everything. Level 4 in piano, highest in year 6, and it's just like, you have to humble them and go, look, don't lose your personality, because you have to be a champion there too. You got to listen to people. You got to be coachable. You're not better than anybody. You got to be taught them lessons too. You know, that's what makes you human. I said, you won't be liked very quickly. You won't be liked by anybody. You won't have nobody around you. But he's just doing what he's getting praised for all the time. And that's where I've also been afraid to be in that position, that if I get praised and well done, will I end up just being, I'm Mr. Know-It-All, I'm too good, because that's not who I am.
I've explained something very, very similar to someone who wakes up, takes the kids to work, quite a well-paid job, that works all day, picks the kids up, baths them, and then literally puts them to bed. Quite a bit of money in the bank. We own a property together. And I went, what you just said is, this will hit home with her because she watches the podcast. And I went, what's your hourly rate? And she went, what do you mean? I went, what do you get paid? 60 grand a year. I went, right, okay. So basically 60 grand a year. Divide that by your 60 hours that you work in a week. Roughly 5 days. Well, on average, let's call it, your hourly rate is £200 that you can't give your kids an hour of your time, yet you're going to give it to work. How does that make you feel? And she was like, yeah, that's it. In fact, when you're paying for them to go to someone else and profiting from that. And then she stopped. She had the mornings with them. She went in a bit later. And then she had the evenings back with them. And then started to read with them, do the homework with them, and got the time back. So, and again, this is what I'm saying to you, when I started to be more present and be with them, that's my job. That's no one else's job. I'm not going to be anywhere else but with my kids. And it was a misconception people had about me that I had it all together, because I didn't a long time ago. I'm not saying I do now, but I'm much, much closer with family life, business, personal. And that's what I would ask you. What would you say is one misconception people have about you?
Well, from the outside, people think that I've had no fun growing up because they said all you've done your whole life is work, work, work. And to get to that, I will never sacrifice my teenage years or my early 20s. I had the most fun clubbing, pubbing, and enjoying myself with my friends, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And in my head, I'm like, you have no clue. I had so much fun. Just because I was disciplined to go to work, what do you think happened after 8 to 4 on a Saturday? I finished McDonald's. I'd have a change of clothes in my car and go to my friends till 5 till 10 o'clock. But I'd just be disciplined to get up 8 o'clock the next morning, go to work, finish at 4, and I'd still go out again. I had all that energy. What do you think happened on a Thursday night after work? We're all going down to the Montague Pike. All right, go on. I'll have a round with you guys. All right, 20, 30 quid, gone. It wasn't bank-breaking money. I just knew when to leave, that I didn't get paralytic and go, what do you remember about last night? Nothing. What do you think you're having a good time if you didn't remember anything? The best nights is when you remember who you're with, the jokes you had, the fun you had. Like, that was the biggest misconception. It's just everything in life is about balance. A balanced amount of fun, a balanced amount of work, you know. When that formula changes, then you get different results. And for me, I just increased it with the work side, and it got me different results there.
And what for you would you say is a life well lived?
A life well lived is when you have people around you who really love you. That's a very life well lived. When my mum was on her bed in her last days, the nurses came and they go, oh, she's resting. It's so amazing to see her daughter here, daughter-in-law here, your son here. What a beautiful thing. Do you know how many houses we go in and no one's there? I was like, what? And they go, yeah, they're worse than your mum and no one's there until we come into that door. And that's not a life well lived. Because what did that person do or teach to say that I don't need any of my children around? I don't need anybody else. Or my mum had friends coming around. The day my mum passed away, even the carers who were supposed to just have their afternoon off turned up and go, really sorry, mum's passed. We heard, but we wanted to say goodbye. Wow, 2 of them came. And they were like, she was really impactful with how she spoke to us. She was like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. We said, no, this is our job, and we're caring for you, Gurmit. And she'll be like, and she goes, when we look after your mum, she'll just say, God bless you, God bless your family and everything. Like, that's the impact of my mum's soul speaking to people that they wanted to be there. Never mind us family, but strangers. So a life well lived is when you've got people who care and love for you until your very last day around you. I think that shows what kind of person you are. And I know there's some people out there who won't have family, and they're very unfortunate to have that. But there's some people who are in a position that they can have people around, but they don't fear tomorrow.
Someone that I want to speak about just quickly who was taken too soon was Charlie Kirk.
Oh, yes.
Yesterday. And that was for speaking out for what they believed in. And obviously, I don't know too much about what he's been speaking about, so I don't agree or disagree with what's been spoken about. But I'm sure you can sort of resonate with some of the stuff that has been going through. But for speaking out about what he believes in, can you believe or give your opinion on what's happened there?
What happened with Charlie Kirk is absolutely disgusting. Ultimately he's a husband and he's a father, and it doesn't matter what he said, because a lot of people say silly things or things they don't understand or things that they just truly believe in. That's not anybody else to judge to end his life apart from God. And when you start to play God, that's not a position that you're going to be blessed for, you know. no one has the right to take anybody's life. And I don't really want to comment too much on this scenario because I don't feel that I even have the right to, you know.
Well, that's why I'm saying the reason I bring it to people's attention is someone that's spoken out about something, and for them and his family to feel that pain, and for you, someone that speaks out about stuff and you believe in, you've got your beliefs, it's giving your opinion on how that event took place and how that could, what are your thoughts on that? It's
just horrible that someone's passed away and someone's lost a husband and someone's lost a father, you know, and that's the saddest thing out of that whole thing. Not judging anyone's personality, their beliefs, their thoughts, apart from somebody's lost something that has changed their life forever. It's caused somebody a lot of grief that they found the partner who they wanted to have a family with and wanted to grow old with, and now they're never going to know what that feels like. And somebody who never ever gets to know their father, and it might change their life forever by having either somebody not present and a strong male sort of direction, the one that I got from my father, or somebody who ends up coming into their lives who cannot ever replace that direction that a real father could. There are shout out to, you know, the real stepdads out there who do step up and become real fathers to other people's children and still see them as their own and has that love and that empathy. But, you know, sometimes you might not be lucky like that, you know. But it's just very, very sad to see this because it feels like in the world, what's going on? There's wars happening unnecessarily. There's places being bombed and innocent people are dying. And then there's people being assassinated. We saw President Donald Trump being just shot just past the ear. Nearly being, for what? You know, for his opinion, for the direction what people voted for. And then you see what's happening in England right now, and people waving the flag everywhere, and all of a sudden there just seems a big divide on race. And you know, there's people who've lived here for a couple of generations now, and they're still frowned upon because they're a different color or different background. Where, you know, for example, I'm brown. I didn't know I was brown until I grew up. I just thought I was normal and same as everybody because I talk like you, walk like you. I've learned history, learned about Henry VIII, and then all of a sudden, somebody just tucks their, you know, teeth and kisses it at you as you're looking at you. I'm like, what did I do? What happened? Is he all right? And then it's all of a sudden comes right down to, no, it's because you're brown and you're in my country. And it's just like, wow, okay. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that thing existed, you know. So all of this, what's happening in the world right now, is a very, very strange place to be. And if people didn't have so much hate inside them, then that will solve 99% of the problems in the world.
Can it be solved?
There's got to be messages. If you can fix things through marketing and let people know you're there to help them, and people click on it, and you know about NLP, neurological linguistic programming, to let people listen and engage and get locked in, surely there could be an answer somewhere with marketing and saying we need to go through this schooling, etc., and people to see. But no one seems to be wanting to take that ownership, or maybe it doesn't want to be there.
But they are, through AI. They're controlling what people are seeing, how much of it they're seeing, the data that's being provided, companies that are working together. That is how it's being controlled and manipulated from what has been published. Again, I don't know that for a fact. I'm only reading articles about it. I don't know that. Again, that's just through articles that I've read. It's not a fact. Look it up yourself. But again, you can read between the lines. Look how far things have come, even if you just are new to AI and use ChatGPT, for example. How much more efficient has that got in a few months? If you're using it in your business for sales agents. That didn't exist maybe a year ago, but it's all being controlled. And like you say, could it be solved? Absolutely, it could be solved. Because what's it all come down to? Money. Control. So I agree. My opinion is, obviously I don't know how to do that, but my opinion is, yeah, it could be solved. I don't know how. Don't know by who. But it's a sad thing that's happened, and yeah, I don't want to go on about that too much. The podcast isn't about that. It's just we obviously both got our own opinion on things, both parents, both in business, and yeah, just wanted to. So it's obviously had an effect on both of us, and mostly, obviously, it would impact other dads and that out there because...
Yeah, I think that what made me really upset is somebody said, oh, look at this misogynist who feels that he could say this, that, other, and women shouldn't go to work and should be at home and have babies. I saw that on a status. And it was like, hey, hang on. Someone's just lost a life here. Like, who are we to stand on the sidelines and he said this and he deserved that? Like, you're playing God. You will be punished for that. Only God can decide what happens when he decides to take a life. When somebody picks up a gun, shoots at you and takes away your life, like, how is that right in any way, shape or form? Like, it just feels really, really wrong. And especially that his own family has lost out on him. It just feels really, really disgusting in my point of view. And as I say, I don't feel qualified to answer this in any way, shape or form. It just feels like I don't want to be one of these people who jumping on a bandwagon and going, yeah, I knew him, I followed him. It's the first time I heard his name, Charlie Kirk, yesterday. And I saw it on another big influencer's channel. And then I saw it on another big influencer's. And before I knew it, I was researching him and finding out on the internet. I was like, wow, okay, like that's what happened. And then I saw people going that he wasn't even real. I saw somebody say that was an AI model of him. And as he got shot, that was AI, and the ring fell out of his second last finger and jumped onto the last finger. And that only happens to something that's not real. And how this is an agenda that's trying to commandeer the normal public. And I was just like, I'm really confused now. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
That's how I felt like.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's put out there. I'm not saying what's happened isn't real, but everything is put out there just to confuse us. And now everyone's going to go down the rabbit hole, be put off by a shooting. And it's confused by, hold on a minute, was it real? Was it not real? He said this. Did he say that? What did he mean by that? Was he deaf? Was he right? And the facts are, he was a dad. And a partner, irrelevant of what his opinions are. Let's leave that out for a moment. Leave them be for a minute. But yeah, I think, sad time. But ultimately, it's not something I want to comment on too much because no doubt people are posting about it all the time. But it was the first time I heard of him. Like you, I went and researched, and actually Georgia told me. But yeah, it's a sad thing. Last couple of questions, sure. And then if you want to wrap up with anything. If you was the only person left on this earth, what would you do?
Travel. I just, there's no purpose to do anything like work or anything. So I just keep moving and trying to discover different places, whether that's in the UK or if I got onto a boat or had access to something. I'll just try to keep traveling, going, let me see as much as the world, because I still need to keep moving. I don't want to be sat at home doing nothing and thinking no one to talk to, no one to care for, no one to provide for, no one to provide a service for. Nothing means anything anymore. So just keep looking at the last things that I can on this world before I leave. How about you?
Probably the same. Because I've not travelled enough. Obviously starting to a lot more now because, as you know, in the last 2 months I've been to Spain and Greece, and I was meant to go at the end of this month back to Spain. So, yeah, travel. That'll be one thing. I was meant to go travelling before the kids. I was actually moving to Thailand.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was a big change.
That would have been beautiful.
Yeah. So then responsibilities came, and for me, it was always move. I didn't have any responsibilities apart from medication for my epilepsy, and then that was me. It was me done. But I'd come back and get them and then fly back, because the 26 tablets for the epilepsy keeps me alive. But yeah, I was going out there to do Wing Chun. Had everything sorted. But then Billy came along, bless her. But yeah, the last thing is, if your mum was sat opposite you now, what would you say to her?
It could only be one thing, which is, I love you so much. Can't think of anything else apart from what she was. Yeah. Yeah, I love you, Mum. Best thing that's ever happened to me. My biggest supporter through life, through journey. You're always the one who understood me the most, and yeah, always next to me. The day I competed, she had always next to me. It's always the person I wanted to impress. So the part of the deal was, I go and do a deal and then run home and tell my mum about it. I've done the championship. Here, this is for you, Mum. Let's take a picture together. Oh, what are you doing now, Sean? What are you doing? I won this. Oh, I bought this. I bought the pub. What are you gone and done that? Come. Go there. I remember that day. It was last year this time. I took a beat. I said to the bar lady, I said, is it alright to come behind the bar? And she goes, it's your pub. You can do what you want. I was like, oh yeah. I still thought I'd ask. And I was like, Mum, hold the pint thing. And she took a picture. And I didn't even know about it. She didn't show that much excitement. She was like, oh, he's bought a pub, you know. And then I just heard from Mum's family later, because she was so happy you bought the pub. She was so happy and so proud of you. But I think these material things she was never ever proud of. She was always proud of the man I became. The fact that I had a family, I had kids. That's all a mother ever wants, that you've got your family in check. Maybe her work was just done. Maybe you've been left with beautiful people around you, little humans around you, and keep going. Maybe I loved her so much that she said, I need you to show this love to somebody else. Like, you know, it's not easy, and it's a journey I'm still on. I'm discovering, because it isn't when a person passes away and you do the funeral, and then I was the one putting her ashes into the river to let her flow. And I saw her go. Like, 1 minute you see somebody in front of you, next minute you're pouring their ashes and they're gone. It's a new way. How do I do life without you? You know, now the next purchase that I'll make on the property, I want to go running to my mum, but I'm sure she's watching. She's going to be my angel. Like, Mum, we did it. Look, I just wanted to take her to them few first class flights and give her the best time ever. But deep down, I know that didn't make a difference to her. However, she was in economy or first class or business, it wouldn't have mattered anything to her. She wouldn't have cared. She just cared that you were happy, you were fed, you ain't got a problem, you're not worried about anything. It's just simplicity. A woman who had this pure simplicity, and something so beautiful about that. So it's just a weird place to be without Mum. But Mum's not here physically, but I'm sure she's with me spiritually. And I know one thing for sure: we will meet again. We will definitely meet again. And I know the day that I'll pass, she'll come and collect me. and I might understand things better then.
And you believe she's proud of you?
You always question it because it's like a big-headed thing that I made my mum proud. But every single person I come across and say, do you know how much she loved you and how proud she was of you? She told me this story, that story, this story, that story. I was like, I've never even known about that. And the way my dad treats me and holds me with so much pride is because how I treated mum. And he knows how much integrity, how much love. It was almost he actually tried to compete for that love because of how much she loved me and the bond that we had. We actually understood each other more because we were both British and dad came in when he was 10 years old. So he had this Indian mentality instilled. So she'd always agree with me, but then she'd always say he's got the last word, end of. Like, you know, oh, we know he don't understand. We're British, X, Y, Z. But you still got to listen to him. Just agree with him. He'll be happy and there you go, done. You know, but me and mum had the most beautiful bond. And so many people saw them pictures, what you just showed me. And so many people actually said, I cried so much just reading and looking at that because I can just understand. And so many people say, I can't understand the pain you're in. I really can't even put pain on a scale. I don't know what I would do if I lost my mum, but just looking at the pictures, I didn't know your mum, but I knew she was a beautiful lady and I knew, I don't know what you're going through, but it's about accepting that this has happened. There's nothing I can do to change it and just keep moving. But I really, really love you, Mum. I've always loved you and you're in my heart always. You'll never leave me. It's so surreal to even talk about this. You know, that she's not present here physically. You know, normally I'd go home, you know, how was your podcast? How was Lewis? How's everything going? You know, she'd always show an interest, even if she didn't understand. But now that's not there anymore, and you've just got to move on with life and just accept my life is changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how life planned out. And sometimes don't take life too seriously and don't plan it out too much because it's not in your hands.
And what about your dad? What would you say to him?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
You mean a lot to me. And you're very, very important. That's all I can sort of bring it down to. Important, you know? And in that importance is love, sort of thing. But yeah, you mean a lot to me because I'm the only parent I have now. And you're important. Because he needs to hear that he's important. Because if he almost feels like, you know, when he's had a little drink, he's like, it should have been me. I was the man. You had your kids here to look after you. It should have been me. But he needs to know that he's important as well, because he has been left and the responsibility is on him now. You know, he doesn't quite know how to handle that because he always said, when I go, look after your mum. When I go, treat your mum like this. When I go, do this with you. And it never turned out that way. Mum went first. So he now needs to get used to the idea that he is here. Now let me see, can you do what you expected mum to do if you went? And only now he knows how hard that is.
Yeah. And your final message, if you can look down the camera and leave a message to your kids, what would that message be?
I love you very much. I know that I'm proud of you in every single thing that you do. Stay humble. Don't ever get ahead of yourself. Always treat people kindly, equally. Money doesn't make you any better than anybody else. It's your personality, your character. And keep doing you. Keep making me proud no matter what. And I know you will, because you're a part of me. And be happy no matter whatever you do. Just make sure happiness is your top priority. Because once you have happiness, you have everything. And so find that happiness in your family, first of all, and then other things that make you happy after that.
Brilliant, mate. Well done. You've been amazing, Sean. Thank you very much for sharing everything with us. And it's been an absolutely brilliant podcast. Where can people reach out to you, find you on social media? Give me all the links to the website and just tell me.
The number one place is Instagram, Seanland, SEANLAND _1. Same with TikTok, Facebook. It's Seanland _property for the YouTube channel. And for the podcast is Take a Seat _1. So the main one is Instagram, Seanland _1. You'll see me, you'll find me, you'll see some of the reels pinned up there. Easiest way, just DM me. I'm very active. You won't have a machine talking to you. It will be me. I'm still very present.
Brilliant, mate. Well done. And like I say, there's so much that Sean's doing on social media and is actually actively doing stuff in person as well. If you've got any questions about anything that we've spoken about, whether it's personal to you or whether it's in property or business, because Sean is doing both, please reach out to him because he will help you. It will be him that reaches out to you, responds to you, sorry. And I hope you found the episode useful. And yeah, again, thank you very much for coming on, Sean. I know some of the stuff's been a bit difficult to speak about, but you've been a fantastic guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, bro. And that was a marathon.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.